Hey guys, it's me, Bianca. There's no hype. There's no pretense. There's no gloss. It's me, Besterday.
And you only slightly messed up that.
Wow,
intro.
really? Okay. If you guys are wondering who these voices are shading me right now, it is.
I didn't say
only.
anything. I thought it though. I thought it.
It's Jeff Benjamin and Mark Sundstrom. And they've been on Besterday before. Jeff was on the podcast in April when we talked about the early days of Christina. And Mark was here. We talked about Aaliyah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So now we're all here together.
And Buffy.
And Buffy, yeah. So now there's like the two biggest Christina's stands that I know.
We've united.
Yes, we united.
We
as well.
have finally, all in the name of Stripped.
Yes. But before we get into all the good stuff, I'm going to let you guys know, Besterday is a podcast where we reminisce on the songs that had your heart, the movies that made you laugh, and everything pop culture from the 80s to the early aughts. So think Baby Bottle Pops. Do you guys have hit clips when you were younger?
I know what they are, but I didn't have
I didn't
them.
believe in
Yeah,
them.
I had. You didn't
Didn't want-
believe
you
in
read
it?
I wanted the full song.
Was it a religion?
I wanted the full song. My fourth grade teacher was like, "This is the future," and I'm like,
Yeah.
"No, it's not. It's
No.
not the full song, Mr.
No,
Bogey."
I
love him.
I remember I had like all the NSYNC ones, obviously. But yeah, that was my jam.
Low-rise jeans.
Oh yeah.
That's the other one I want.
Do you still wear those?
Duh.
Of course.
Tight hip huggers.
Low for
Yeah.
show. Shake a little something on the flow.
There's gonna be a lot of this one. This is an
I like-
episode
I
for
can't
the
wait.
fighters. It truly
No,
is.
it is for the fighters. And
This is for my
yeah.
5-year-old, 6-year-old fans who came up watching me on The Voice and now look to me for vocal inspiration.
Yes.
So, sorry. Anyways, hi.
Hey, but no, this is for the fighters. You guys showed me so much love for the first Christina Preach episode, so I had to do it once again because you guys are amazing. And yeah, before we get into all that, make sure you hashtag Besterday on Twitter and Instagram and send me suggestions, rate us on iTunes, follow myself, Bianca Rogue, on Twitter. And you guys, shout out your Twitter handles.
I'm Jeff __ Benjamin, always sharing lots of fun Christina stuff whenever
Yeah.
there's a chance. So
Yeah.
follow along.
And I am Mark, and I am at 106th on Twitter. Most of you fighters probably already know both
Yeah.
of us, but
Aw,
if
I
you
hope
don't,
so.
follow us or die.
Wow.
Just kidding.
So
I'm
violent.
kidding. Okay.
We're coming ready.
Okay. All right, guys, so let's kick it off with This Week in History.
Yeah.
On October 30th, 1987, George Michael's debut album, Faith, was released. Rest in peace, King. On October 30th,
Wow.
2003, Wicked premiered on Broadway. Can't believe that was in 2003. Oh, my God. Have you guys ever watched it?
I've never seen Wicked. My friend
Yeah.
gave me the soundtrack, and I know the entire soundtrack. I think I know the story based on the
Yeah.
songs. I've still never actually seen it.
Yeah, I've
though.
never seen this show. It's funny because it came out right when I was just entering college, or right after I entered college.
Yeah.
So and I moved to New York for college, so it was like a huge deal. Obviously, the Broadway show. Everyone I knew who was into Broadway and shit was like, "Oh my God, Wicked!" And I
know.
was like, "Okay." I'm the kind
Yeah.
of person I don't like things when they're hyped up, and then I get into
No,
it
it was
years
hyped
later.
up all throughout high school. Everyone was like, "Oh, you have to see Wicked." Like all the theater buffs were all about that life.
Yeah.
And just I kind of got over it, but
I know.
Now I'm like, I wish I'd seen it.
I
Yeah,
know.
same.
I like
With, like, the original
Yeah, with
cast.
the original
Yeah.
cast, right? I mean, I feel like if I see it, it won't sound the same, so I'll be a little disappointed.
yeah, I agree. Next up, the iconic Vanilla Ice was born on October
Iconic,
31st,
Who?
1967. Vanilla Ice.
Oh, Vanilla Ice. Okay.
baby.
I thought you were
Alright.
being shady.
No, I actually wasn't.
You like come here and smash things.
I mean, TBH, he probably would. On October 31st, 1991, Are You Afraid of the Dark premiered on Nickelodeon. One of my
Still
favorite
never
shows.
seen an
You-
episode.
oh right, Jeff's afraid
Oh
of
yeah, you're.
everything.
Anything.
I totally forgot about that.
I remember watching it when it premiered.
Wow.
What year was that? 91.
I was a month old.
I was like 7.
What great
6
branding, though, to premiere on Halloween.
Yeah.
So smart.
Very, very smart. On November 2nd, 1983, Michael Jackson's Thriller was released.
Wow. Right
the-
after Halloween. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
I thought it was released before because it's such a.
Maybe like
Maybe the
it was
lead
on
single.
radio. The video was out, but maybe the
Yeah.
actual like how you could buy the single didn't come out
Oh,
until
yeah.
after Halloween.
That's probably
Maybe
true. Because back in those days, they had a different
Yeah, it
rollout
wasn't all at
plan.
the same time,
Yeah,
no.
that's true. On November 3rd, 1992, Whitney Houston's "I Will Always Love You" cover was released.
Oh, very actually timely. Because our girl will soon be paying tribute to
yeah.
not only "I Will Always Love You" but the whole Bodyguard soundtrack. What 25th anniversary?
Yeah,
American
25th
Music
anniversary.
At the American Music Awards, November 19th.
Do you
Tune in.
think she'll do "I Will Always Love You"?
Oh, she
kinda
has to.
Yeah, that's like the
That's the
signature
one.
song.
You
That
know,
is the one.
It is. I mean, there's so many. I mean, that was a soundtrack. Like,
And it's like one of the
Right?
biggest selling albums of all time. Like,
yeah, and like
It's
just so many
incredible.
hits. Oh my gosh, "Run to You."
that song with Shel Visage that nobody remembers.
Was "I Have Nothing" on that soundtrack?
I Have Nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, "Queen of the Night." I don't know if "Queen of the Night" was a hit or a single, but I love
think
that
most
song.
people know that song.
Yeah.
Queen of the Night.
Yeah.
I mean, wow.
I hope she sings that.
I
She
know.
That'd be
won't.
cool. That'd be cool.
I wonder what she's gonna
what the
wear.
fans want. She probably
I
won't
know.
do
I
it.
wonder what she's gonna wear. If she's gonna do like a throwback type of outfit, or like
I wonder if it'll be
I
anything
know.
like that canned Whitney tribute she did on The Voice.
The hologram. The
Oh,
hologram
yeah.
one.
Yeah, or like the first half before the hologram came in.
Right.
I think
I mean, I
they'll-
could see it.
do it up,
We'll
know,
see.
properly, because it's 25 years. You have to do it right.
Yeah. And what's interesting is that, the fact that she's doing it a second time, Whitney's family asked her, they're like, yes, we know
Yeah.
it didn't work out. We want you still to do it.
There
though.
Yeah.
better not be
Still
a
the
hologram
one."
on this.
No, that
I
was
will-
so
Why is
rude.
everyone so upset about the
I will
hologram?
send in my stand card.
Is it because it doesn't
Just
look
kidding.
right?
Just, I
It
don't
just
think
is
it's
like weird.
appropriate.
And it doesn't look like her.
Yeah.
But also, it was just weird.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not about the hologram life, but
All right.
next up, November 4th, 1969, P. Diddy was born. Happy
Oh.
early birthday, Diddy.
Another Christina collaborator. Tell me.
Tell me.
The
We were
smash
just
that
talking
should have
about that
been.
the other
Got
day.
roots everywhere.
I
She really
know.
does. I could probably connect this. Knowing
Six
No,
degrees of
actually-
Christina Aguilera.
anything, George Michael.
Please try it.
How could we connect him to George Michael?
I have no idea.
I'm sure
Well,
there's a
Adele
way.
dressed up as George Michael for Halloween one year, and
Yeah.
he's one of her favorite singers. And Christina and Adele happened to be friends, and they met backstage at a concert
Wow.
in 2012.
They're probably friends.
Oh, wait, how would you connect it to Wicked?
To Wicked.
Adina Menzel is a singer.
Oh, come on.
No.
I'm sure there's some.
There is a way, but
There
that's-
totally
I
is a
don't
way.
know.
I'll think of it. I'll be thinking
Okay.
of it. There's something with Christian Chenoweth or something like that.
Yeah. And last but not least, see if you can connect this one. On November 4th, 1996, Spice Girls released their debut album.
Oh my god,
Wow.
I remember that.
That was my first album, actually.
Really like that you
My
bought.
first.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
album
My
I
first
bought.
album was Britney's Baby One More Time.
Wow.
Aw.
Yeah.
My first album
How-
was Janet's Janet.
Wow. So
That's
it was,
a
it was
good first
Britney, was-
album. Look
Traitor.
at you.
I had to put like the
No.
sticker over like the. Isn't there like a part? Is it parental explicit? Wait.
Parental advisory,
Is
explicit
that album
content.
have that?
No, I think that was for Velvet Rope.
Oh.
Think.
There are a bunch of albums I always had to put stickers over so my parents
Aw.
couldn't see.
Did you just call me a traitor because Britney's was my first album?
I'm just saying.
Get out!
That's what everyone was thinking. Just kidding.
Wow. I mean, I
This
will
is a Christina
say
podcast
I
and
was
my
a
first
Britney
album.
fan before I was a Christina fan. I will put that out there. Don't come from my throat, people. But I'm still a huge, huge Christina fan, which is why I have 2 episodes of Christina and not 2 for Britney. Just saying. But
Jeez.
Receipt.
Okay.
all right, let's get into some nostalgic news. Last night, some very cool news came out that Beyonce is officially confirmed for the Lion King remake. How?
Yes. I don't know what that was. That was.
I thought you
That
were
was me
gonna.
on the plane
no,
yesterday, I read that
I
news.
thought you were gonna say the no. But how do you feel about Beyonce being cast as Nala? I don't know.
I think it's great.
I was
I
trying
think
to
it is-
actually envision her voice as
That's
like,
what I was
as
thinking
like
Oh.
too.
as
Because
grown up
her
Nala.
voice is very like husky and like
Yeah.
deep, and Nala's voice is very like airy.
Well, I think the Nala that
So-
we know is like the one we're thinking
Yeah,
of, the
that's
Disney
true.
one, But like in the Broadway or the Broadway show and things like that, I'm sure there's been some
No,
some
you're right.
huskier Nalas
Yeah,
through the
some
years.
huskier
So- but no, when I saw that cast, I was just like, my mind was kind of blown.
No, the
I was
cast is
like-
epic.
I think a lot of people thought it was fan made or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I saw that graphic, I did. I was like, Disney, really with this
Yeah.
graphic?
Yeah.
It's
Like,
very
you're
1992.
Disney. Like, you can't come up with a better way to announce your cast than this.
I know. I was
graphic.
at least thinking of some social
I checked
video.
that 3 times to make sure that was the real Disney Twitter. I was like, what's happening?
Oh, I did too.
Yeah, but if you guys don't know, Donald Glover is going to be playing Simba. James Earl Jones, who played Mufasa in the original movie, he's coming back to voice the role.
Love
Chiwetel Ejiofor. Sorry, how do you say his name?
Ejiofor?
Ejiofor. He's playing Scar. Alfred Woodard is playing Sarabi, which is perfect casting. Seth Rogen is Pumbaa. Billy Eichner is Timon. John Oliver is Zazu. Like, there's so many good people in this cast. So
all I
excited.
said, when the news came out on Twitter, I was very excited, obviously. But then I added, they better not have a problematic casting with the hyenas this time.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh,
they
God.
didn't announce the hyenas.
They didn't announce the hyenas.
Aren't these the hyenas? Azizi, Shenzi, and Kamari? Are those not hyenas?
Are those their names?
Oh, is
I
that
didn't know they had like official
I didn't know they had their
they had
names.
official names.
Oh, well then it looks
Yeah.
like we're doing okay then. All
Yeah.
right.
Disney
Back.
did it right this time, finally.
All righty, all right.
Yeah, but
Feeling good.
look out for the movie on July 19th to 2019. So
Wow.
it's coming pretty close.
It's interesting how they're calling it live action, right? But like, it's really just
It's
gonna
not.
be
It's just CGI.
CGI.
Jon Favreau, he directed the Jungle Book live action.
that
He's
was
doing
good.
this one. So I feel like it's going to be epic
It's
because
gonna be
that
really
movie
good.
was incredible.
Yeah,
So
I loved that. Yes.
yeah, I think it's just going to be a box office
Although I will
smash.
say, they have a
What?
lot more to live up to because The Lion King's already considered by
That's
this
true.
generation and the one like
Yeah,
different
like the
generations,
best
classic,
animated,
iconic, amazing.
yeah.
Whereas like Jungle Book kind of was like,
Man, and like
It's not
Beauty and the
like-
Beast was man.
yeah. I
So-
mean, well, oh yeah, I forgot that was a live action.
I mean,
remake, too.
we all kind of forgot
Disney
about
just
that movie.
mining their fucking catalog for this money.
Yeah, I mean, what do you guys think about the whole live action trend? Because we're having like Aladdin is in the works, Dumbo's in the works. It's like, do you think they should continue doing live action
I
remakes?
mean, they go and do it whether we think they should or not.
Yeah,
I like cartoons. I like
Yeah.
animated.
I
I
like
don't know.
animated.
Like, as long as they don't stop doing it, I just don't know.
I mean, I'm already kind of a little let down that they don't do like 2D old like
Oh,
classic
yeah, that's
animation
what
anymore.
they're
It's
called.
all
Oh, yeah.
like 3D. I mean,
That's
it's
true.
great and the stories are really great. I love like Inside Out and I love all those movies.
yeah.
and-
I do miss
Right.
the old school.
I do
look.
too. They were so cute. I mean, not that say that Pixar's pretty good about making cute things, but yeah, I don't know. It's like and it's such a play to like our generation that is older now, and like or a lot of us also, not a lot of us, but like some have kids. They're going for the nostalgia
Yeah.
factor. The kids are
Yeah.
excited. It all makes sense why they're doing it. It's just going to keep continuing, but
Yeah.
yeah.
It'll be interesting to see once they run out of like the really big name ones. Like,
Right.
Like which one?
well, I thought it was interesting they did the Jungle Book because
Yeah.
that was like an older movie. It's not as classic as like Cinderella or something. So
That's true.
I'm wondering if they'll like do other like less
Aristocrats.
classic, yeah, or like Oliver and Company. Anyone remember that? No.
Like,
Okay.
or the Fox and the Hound.
Yeah, like Lady and the Tramp.
Yeah.
Where they showed
Lady
the
and Tramp is
spaghetti.
pretty iconic. What I wonder is if they're gonna do the animated ones in live action versions. Like, are we gonna like?
Oh, yeah.
Maybe not like Cars and Finding Nemo, but like,
Oh, like Toy Story.
yeah, maybe not those, but
Mm.
maybe like Up or the ones that have people. in 'em.
Yeah.
I could see that. Yeah.
I don't know. Just a thought. Just throwing it out there.
Inside Out.
Yeah.
I feel like
Well,
we know
Disney.
it just came out 2 years ago, but it was such a hit and everyone loved it. We're remaking it with real people. Yeah. I mean, at this point, I wouldn't be surprised by anything.
True. But the next up in it's not really a remake. It's more of like a resurgence. Kristen Bell confirmed that a Veronica Mars miniseries is in the works. Did you guys watch this show when it was on TV?
No,
No.
because I was a Buffy fan and you were either Team Buffy or Team Veronica Mars.
Really? I didn't know it was like
No, I mean, it wasn't really like that. In my
Yeah.
mind, it was because I was a crazy stan. But
clearly.
I don't think it was really like that. I just think in my mind, I was like, I can't watch two blonde superheroes save the
Yeah.
world.
Well, Veronica Mars, she was more of like a PI. Like she wasn't. It wasn't like a
superpower.
supernatural type of thing. So it was more like realistic. I feel. But I know Veronica Mars has a huge cult following. The show, premiered in 2004, and it was on UPN, and then it went to CW, and then after the show ended, it only had 3 seasons, and the fans wanted it back, so they released a mini movie in
Right.
2014.
I never really knew this show, but it's what gave us Kristen Bell.
Yeah.
That's
so,
true. Yeah, now she's on The Good Place, which
Which I
Mark
do
loves.
love.
I do.
Yeah,
love
and I need to
watching
start
that,
watching
yeah.
it. Yeah, so if you guys are into that, #Besterday, let us know if you're into the new Veronica Mars show. And last but not least, I picked this just because Mark's here. That's news.
You know, I have a lot to say
Yeah.
about this.
Which one?
Very opinionated.
So
Oh.
I spoke 2 episodes ago that the Hocus Pocus remake is in the works by Disney Channel, and it's not going to include any of the original cast members. Kenny Ortega is not part of it, who directed the original movie. But now, a few days ago, Bette Midler, she spoke up about it, and she is not happy. She said that I know it's cheap. It's going to be cheap. I'm not sure what they're going to do with my character. My character is very, very broad, and I don't know who they're going to find to play that. So, and then People Magazine asked her, would she return if the money was popping? And she said, no, no, no. So,
Sisters? Book? Okay.
yeah, I mean, I totally agree with her. I don't think a remake is necessary at all, especially for a TV movie. Like, it's going to be so cheesy. Like, it's freaking Disney Channel.
The thing is, I just don't understand. Disney, I hope you're listening. I love you.
Yes.
But we need to talk.
Disney,
Sit down.
honey.
Break it down, sis.
Have a drink.
Break it down.
Sis. The fans have been asking for a Hocus Pocus sequel
Yes.
with the original cast for years, to the point where Disney knows that, and they have,
Yeah.
during Halloween, as part of that Disney World party they have every night there in October, they have a big show that's based around the Sanderson sisters and all the Disney villains coming to, like, do a spell with them.
Exactly.
So, like, they know they're still popular. They know those songs, like, people know them. They know it's like a cult movie. It's on ABC Family or Freeform, whatever it's called
Yeah.
now, every year. Like, they know that. Why would you then be like, everyone wants a sequel with a cast, but let's do a remake on
Let's
TV
do a
with a totally new.
remake.
Like, who wants that? Nobody wants that. Nobody
No
asked
one.
for that. And the thing is, Bette Midler has said in the past she was up for doing a sequel.
yeah.
And so have other
So it
cast
feels kind of
members.
like a slap in the face.
So it's
No,
like
it
weird. Like,
does.
if everyone's on to do it, like, it just, I don't understand.
Yeah,
Anyways, I'm
I'm
very
not here
opinionated.
for it because this movie it's such an iconic film. Like, it passed through to so many generations. Like Mark said, it plays every year for the Halloween festivities. And I feel like, yeah, it's kind of like a letdown that they don't really want to make it in the way that the fans, are envisioning it. So, Disney Channel, I'm not here for this. I'm not here for a lot of your current moves, Disney Channel, just saying. But yeah, because they remade Bug Juice, Disney XD remade the
did?
DuckTales.
Oh, right.
There's so many things. There's so many wrong things that they're choosing to remake, and I'm not here for it. All right, guys, we are back, and we will be talking about one of the greatest albums,
Oh.
not of our generation, not of just pop music, but of all time,
Whoa.
Ever.
ever. Would you guys agree?
Whoa.
I think Stripped is an iconic album.
Sorry you can't define me.
So get right into it.
Sorry I break the mold. All right, sorry.
But do you guys remember the first time that you listened to Stripped?
Of course.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know about you guys, I don't know about you guys, but I bought it the day it came out because I only did that with a couple artists, and
Yeah.
I did go to Target and get my copy. I actually didn't think my
Wow.
mom was gonna take me, but I think she knew it was important. And I think it had, because back then that's when every country had a different release day and
Yeah,
things like
yeah.
that. So I think it technically had leaked. I was definitely on. Oh my gosh, did you ever go to the ChristinaConnection.net?
Probably.
Mark? It was a
Was that a
it was
forum?
a, it was a, no, it was,
I was
a,
on all those
it was a website. It was a really, really good Christina site that, oh my gosh,
Every performance, every photo. They had,
basically.
everything, right?
No, this one was really well kept up to date. It was so fun. I think I checked it every day, every morning before going to the bus stop. And, and yeah, I think technically the album had leaked or whatever, technically it had been out. So I had listened to the tracks, but definitely did not take any of it in. But then
Yeah.
I just do remember laying in my living room. I think I was doing my homework or something. And yeah, just listening to it and let it kind of all wash
soak
over
in.
me. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
because that's when when you actually played it. That's when you heard we've talked about the transitions, the songs as they're meant to. I think I was only hearing songs as they sort of came in and things like
Yeah.
that because
Yeah.
I didn't respect it at the time. Then I was
Yeah.
like, oh my god.
I think I was the same way because I got it for Christmas when
That-
I
right
was
after it
in
came
right
out,
after it came out, and that was in I was in sixth
God.
grade.
Oh God, y'all both
I-
making me feel.
That was in 2002.
Yeah, I was
When
a
it came out.
child, but of course, being 12 years old, you don't really understand the messages that she's
Right.
talking about. So I reconnected with this album when I was in high school, like 9th grade.
Well, I was a grown woman
Yeah.
when it came out. I had my license, and I think had just started my senior year of high school.
Yeah.
Because I graduated 2003, so yeah, fall
Okay.
of 2002, yeah. So I had this thing where when albums came out on that, because new music day used to be Tuesdays back then.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yep.
For all
Every
the
Tuesday
children
when
who
an
don't
album
know.
came out by an artist I loved or knew, there were certain artists I still always buy the physical copy or always buy the iTunes or always buy it.
Yeah.
Same. Yep.
And I ran to the store after school that day. It was Newbury Comics, which is like a
Oh yeah.
music store
Yeah.
that's like only in certain cities. It's not as wide as like Best Buy or anything. And it was on the new release shelf, and I grabbed it and I took it to
Yeah.
my Jeep and I put it in the CD player,
Love that you had a Jeep.
and my mind was blown. And I just
So you hadn't heard anything, or you hadn't heard
no,
the tracks?
I had heard just like
You heard,
the singles. So I'd
It's
heard
like
like Dirty,
Dirty.
obviously, and then I'd
Yeah.
heard Beautiful because they put that out right before the
Yeah.
album came out.
Yeah.
And no, I hadn't heard anything. And then I think my best friend at the time, one of them was with me because he was also a really big Christina fan. And so we went together to buy it.
yeah.
It was
Aw,
great.
Good memories. I will say this was an album that made me a Christina like mega fan. I'm not
Interesting.
stan level like compared to Jeff and Mark. Like they're like official stands. But like I think this album, like I gained so much respect for her, and I was like, you know, she is the voice, as we all have come to love her for. But yeah, as we always do with album anniversaries, we're gonna get into the entire track list. And I was gonna do just the songs, but Mark wants to do the interludes as well.
Jeff and I both gave her shit about not
Yeah,
doing it.
and I even saw
Yeah,
you
I
saw some
know.
comments on Twitter. We saw your guys' comments on
Yeah.
Besterday. You know, some people even mentioned specifically like the interludes, and so
Yeah, actually, I like shouted you guys out on my Twitter, and you guys had like amazing reactions. So I'm definitely gonna put that in the post once it's all live, and thank you guys for sharing. You guys are so enthusiastic. But yeah, okay, the stripped intro.
yeah.
Let's break it
Iconic.
down.
I mean, iconic. I mean, you hear that, you just hear it starts out with like the news, like
Yeah.
the news clippings, and
Uh-huh.
like all the things about all the drama. She
Yeah, with
was
like
in,
Fred Durst and
and
Eminem and the
and,
Britney
like,
versus Christina.
yeah, it was like the perfect way to set up like her being like, "This is my time
Yeah.
to tell my story."
And even a slight couple moments before that, I like that it kind of started with this almost like it felt like almost like a show was starting, or like it sounded like almost like
it
a
was kind of
basketball
like a
game.
TV or something was
Like
turning
a
on. Yeah, it was really
very
cool.
epic sounding.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it sounded like it to me sounded like almost like a jock jam. I know that's a really corny reference, but like it was exciting, like you know, in
Yeah,
that
it
way.
built up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then like
anticipation.
those initial piano notes
Oh,
hit. It's
yeah.
like,
And
oh,
I still
shit's
wish-
about to go down.
Yeah, there was a song. Or I mean, I love the song itself, just as its own little thing or whatever. But there was this mix or something that combined part one, the intro, and part two. That I
Ooh.
always listen to and like kind of because I always just wanted to keep the vibes going. And
Yeah.
it's just such a cool vibe. It's so simple, but it's so effective.
I remember when I heard that in my car, I was like, "Oh, this bitch did not come to play." I was like,
She
"This is
wasn't
gonna be an
playing
album."
games. She
I was
was
like,
not
"This
playing
intro
games.
alone is like got me hype." I was like screaming in my car.
Oh man, and it definitely set the tone for the entire album, which I thought was really cool. I feel like albums nowadays don't really have that like definitive first track that kind
Yeah.
of sets the tone. So I think that was really cool, especially during that time. So next up is "Can't Hold Us Down."
Well, this one, and you know, like in my opinion, it kind of like I don't know. Christina's second songs are always, in my opinion, really random on her song. Like it went back to basics, had a similar style. It went back to basics intro
Yeah.
to Makes Me Want to Pray, which I didn't think like totally encompasses the album. And Can't Hold Us
No,
Down.
that's a good note actually.
yeah, and I think she also did Bionic.
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 Bionic. I did that kind of too with Not Myself Tonight as well. Like I don't know, it's just kind of like she always feels a little random with that second track.
I feel
but
like
she-
maybe it's like because they're up-tempo songs. And
Yeah.
she wants
Yeah,
to
like
start
you don't
off on
really
like
start
a
on
she
like
wants
a
to
popping
intro.
beat.
She wants to like
Yeah.
just get right off going.
Yeah, and not to say
Yeah.
that it's a bad song to kick things off with, but I always thought it was a little
Like a little not strange, but like
Sonically though, it just like right after that intro ends and that Scott Storch Can't Hold Us Down beat
Yeah.
starts. Like, now that we've all loved
Yeah.
the album, like it's such an iconic like.
Yeah,
you just
no.
expect that next step.
now.
Oh, for
Now
sure.
I do for sure, yes.
Yeah,
but at
yeah,
the time, I thought it was a bit like jarring. But
yeah.
I'm
I
being
think
really
now,
picky.
like the fighters, I'm sure like you guys know the entire track list.
I
you
remember
know?
like when that song
By-
would come
yeah.
on. I remember it came on and I was like, oh my god, this beat.
Yeah.
And I was like, she's doing like hip hop R&B finally.
No,
even though her
I
debut was kind of
honestly,
R&B,
I
but-
mean, not to bring up Lotus, but I love when like she doesn't really go like too like poppy, mainstreamy, and like dance. I love when she like does hip hop and Latin and R&B. I think that suits her voice a lot better. So I think that's one of the reasons why I love this album. But yeah, Can't Hold Us Down. Obviously, it's a feminist anthem. I mean, when I was young, I didn't really know what that meant.
Yeah.
But 15 years later, I think people didn't really give her. I mean, we talk about it all the time, but didn't really give her the credit for making a song like that. Talking about double standards between men's sexuality and women's sexuality, and how it's portrayed in society. And I think she was very ambitious in doing that at the time. And I think she didn't really get the credit for it.
Well, and I think too, it was also, it's kind of, we talk about it a lot. I think a lot of artists talk about it nowadays, or a lot of,
It's very buzzy now.
Or it's buzzy now, and it's
Not
been,
to say that they don't mean it.
No,
it's because,
it's
like,
buzzy
now,
and it's more accepted now.
especially in the Trump era, because women, we're fighting for our rights even more now. With birth control and equal pay and all that. So I think these are the type of songs that are sticking.
Yeah, and a lot of people think back to like, or if you're thinking like, oh, well, Beyonce with "If I Were a Boy" or things like, but like this was 2002. Like
Exactly.
Beyonce, love them all. Beyonce, Britney, no one was really talking about these things like at that time. And something I always really loved about Christina, and I'm sure we'll get into this a little later too, is that these it was the interviews, it was the messages, it was all these things. Is that Christina was being unapologetically pro-feminism, pro-sexuality, sex positive, all these things, but also having the music and the style and the looks to back it up.
Exactly.
For those, lots of artists were playing, very sexual songs, but very innocent images. And, it's like Christina was like, this is it.
This is like when she dyed her hair black, and she had like the black and white extensions, and her wardrobe got a little more, sexier.
Yeah, no, exactly. And just like from the beginning, and, also, as a 12-year-old, I was like, this is the first time that it's been exposed to me, these sort of ideas. And, that was so impactful. I mean, her audience was young. And then to put those ideas and those messages in our heads, like, oh my gosh, like,
that's
I'm so thankful for it.
Because I feel like, a lot of people, they say, oh, don't look at these artists as role models. But if you don't have that type of role model, in your life, in your family, at school, like, these type of albums are kind of your mantra in a way. So I think, despite the music being amazing, I think it was a good way, for her to introduce certain topics, to young people who really needed it. So next up is "Walk Away."
Yes.
This song makes me cry
I feel
every
like
time
this
I hear
song's
it.
kind of underrated.
Oh yeah,
It's
for sure.
very-
Like, it's not like one of the ones anyone
Yeah.
thinks about automatically or goes to.
No, this is
Not a
probably
lot of people.
top 5 for me.
But
Like
yeah,
her
it's
entire.
such a good song.
Yeah, I remember watching the Letterman performance where she had like that pinstripe like zoot suit, and like I was like, oh, the emotions, my emotions.
That live performance was so random. It was like,
It
way
was.
after the era kind of
Oh, yeah.
ended, and like it wasn't even a single, so like it was just a rant. But I'm so happy she did that because it was such a great performance.
Yeah, and she was just it was a very random David Letterman interview, and then she performed "Walk Away," and like who would have thought that like we were gonna get like a lot? I don't think any of us thought we were gonna get a
live
TV,
performance of Walk Away.
But it was, and that is such one of the most power, and she must love it too to go just randomly sing a B-side
Did she
track.
perform it like
album track, I
on
mean.
tour?
She did.
She did with
I
the
feel
stripper.
Like it was kind of overshadowed by that
Stripper
male
man. Yeah.
dancer, stripper in the box thing.
Yeah.
doing
Did you
it.
see the tour, Bianca? Strip
No.
tour?
I mean, I
Oh.
saw. I
Get
know.
out. No, I'm just kidding.
I know. I've never seen Christina on tour. Maybe when this album comes
Part
out.
of
When
that's because she hasn't toured in 2 years.
I know when this album comes out, when I'm 40 and with my kids,
Wow.
then I'll come. I'll come see her.
No.
But,
Yay, come for her.
But I've seen highlights, like the JT. 'Cause, like I remember like seeing the
Justified
posters,
Stripped,
and
yeah.
like a lot of my friends had the T-shirts and stuff. So
same.
I think that tour in itself was a moment.
Yeah.
But like
So,
when she performed
yeah.
"Walk Away" and that guy was in the box and he was kind of stripping and dancing while she sang, which it fit the
Yeah.
song because it's like a slow burn.
Yeah.
Everyone in the whole arena was like screaming about the guy,
screaming about this
being,
guy.
like shirtless and
Yeah.
grinding,
And that's, like,
it's
total-
I couldn't hear her voice. I
Yeah,
want to hear her
yeah.
sing this damn song. I
Yeah,
love this
meanwhile,
song.
she's giving her heart out, on
Yeah.
stage.
Because like it worked for a tour.
Yeah.
It totally did,
female
yeah.
fans and gays.
Yeah.
And,
But I think
like,
for that song, it just has to be, I mean, no pun intended, but it has to be like a stripped down performance. But
it's like totally the vocals.
yeah.
Yeah, and I now thinking about if I'm literally thinking about every song's legacy, it does feel like that one kind of gets overshadowed when you think about it. Even though like I think it's one of her best vocal performances,
sure.
you know, especially like at the bridge and whatnot. Oh my gosh, it's just
All right, let's talk about Fighter. But like that transition though,
Oh, that
fucks me
transition.
up every time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was a little nervous about Fighter, and the true, the real internet kids like me, will know that like a really kind of a very rough demo version leaked out for a long time, and I was kind of like, I was like, oh, it's pretty good, I was like, oh, it's all right, it's a fun song, or like
Yeah.
I like where she's going with it, but the final version, like with Dave Navarro and like all the ridiculous guitar and like I don't know. It was never one of my favorite songs, but like I appreciate it so much just because, like, I mean, I don't know. I think that it's such an energetic song, such a powerful song. Like it's
Yeah.
pop, but it's also rock, and just once again showed all the range.
Oh
and
yeah,
all the-
this entire album has so many different genres.
Yeah.
Which is really really cool.
Yeah.
I feel like
so,
also lyrically, it felt like I was like, yes, go
Very-
Yeah,
in.
no, this was like a kiss off to all the haters.
Yeah,
Like
well,
you
and
know,
to like all the people.
who,
'cause
like-
she had like a manager who like was shady apparently, and like
okay.
had overworked her, and like she just had people trying to like
To
do
bring her
shady
down.
shit. But, like, so I feel like this was like her thing to those people
Yeah, to be like,
personally,
"Fuck
but like
you."
also had a wider message.
exactly.
Obviously.
Yeah, and this is like one of my favorite songs to just. I remember like when I was younger, I used to sing it in my room, felt it.
same. Yeah.
I was
I had
such
like,
like a defiant.
It's so funny because
anthem.
at this point,
Yeah.
it's so like it's kind of like a cliche. I don't know if that's even the
I mean,
word, but
it's a little dated, in my opinion. Like just the sound, but
I mean, maybe,
think-
but like, how dated can guitars be? And
Yeah.
No, I think
and
not like-
pianos.
it's kind of just like one of those songs
Yeah.
that we've heard so much.
I think that's what it
Especially
is.
if you're a fan,
like she performed.
and you know
it
how
all
much
the
she
time.
performs that damn song.
and the thing
Because,
is-
I mean, it is one of her most well-known songs, which is interesting to me. But
It is interesting. Well, and at least on the charts, it was the third best performing single in the U.S. because it was, Beautiful obviously did really well, and Can't Hold Us Down was, I think, top 10 or nearly top 10, like number 11 or something. And then Fighter went like top 20. But I think it was like all over. I remember there was like an NBA
Yeah, it's definitely
endorsement
like
deal with it.
sports. Like
Yeah, my
worthy
dad
is
loved
good.
that
Yeah.
song, and my brother loved that song.
Yeah.
It was definitely like her. But I just love that. I mean, I'm jumping all over the place now. But she went from Dirty to Beautiful to Fighter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it was just like
It showed like all different facets of
okay,
her.
she really, and I think she really
And visually, they
dug
were
that
also
too.
different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they were. They very much
Yeah.
were.
Speaking of different facets, she went the Latin route with Infatuation.
you're skipping the.
Oh my God! Okay, the
Primer
interlude.
Amor.
Okay,
Interlude.
sorry.
Jesus.
Premier Amor. Talk about it, Mark.
My friend and I had this memorized. We would always.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, yeah. Every time I come on, we'd let it play. And we still to this day.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so cute.
So fun. Don't ask me to say it right this moment.
I was about
Yeah,
to
I'm
say.
gonna ask you
know,
after
like, parts of it
after
floating
we
around my head,
record. I'm
but-
gonna ask you. The Infatuation.
Una historia.
Infatuation. I mean, a lot of fans remember that she premiered at the 2002 Winter Olympics, which would have been, way before the actual
Yeah.
album
It
came
was like
out.
a year or so before
Yeah, I mean,
the era even
yeah,
started.
I mean, it was the winter, so yeah. But and I remember being like, okay, I like it, I don't really get it, or I didn't get it at the time, and I think all these things, out of play, and this is one of the things I actually think is kind of most unfortunate about Strip's kind of legacy. And actually, if you are so interested, I wrote a little piece about
Oh
this.
yeah, guys, I'll
Um,
link that as well. Jeff wrote like an amazing piece on the impact of Christina Strip.
Yeah, or just kind of, and one of my points was that it was really tough back then because we didn't have streaming, we didn't have YouTube. Lots of albums came out very fragmented. If you like the single, you'd check it out. But like Christina, really, it was quite unfortunate that like out of context, Infatuation was like, okay, what is
Like,
it?
how does this tie
Such a
in?
random song.
Yeah, like we're like, okay, is this her new sound? Like it wasn't so heavily, Latin pop flamenco,
Yeah.
but also wasn't so heavily pop.
I think
you know,
it was a good balance. You know,
it was a good balance,
Yeah.
but like it just didn't
But
really.
it also like wasn't a lead single.
It wasn't a lead
And, like, she
single.
never- it was just a random.
I wonder why she performed that.
She
Like
must
she
have just
chose
been
to.
excited,
She must
you
have like
know.
just finished it
Yeah.
and been like, I love this song.
Yeah, I mean,
and I have to perform something new at the
Mhm.
Olympics.
Yeah.
Even though I feel
I
like
am
she could have also
so
just performed over
Bariba.
huge hits from the first album.
With the tattoo
Yeah.
on
Like if it was a
his
global
arm.
Olympic, like everyone would have known. Like come
maybe,
on over.
maybe she was
or-
just like, screw it, you guys.
Yeah.
Like I'm.
yeah.
I really want to. Yeah, but I mean,
But she was probably mindset wise so into the stripped
She probably
Yeah.
was.
realm.
Yeah.
She's like, I want to do something new. I mean, she's
Yeah.
always kind of randomly here and there done that where
Mm-hmm.
like Lift Me Up at that Haiti telethon, which was like totally random.
Yeah.
But, like
But it
obviously the
worked.
song fit, but like random as far as like it's this new song no one even knew.
And you know, it does have. It's one of the more worldly sounding songs.
That's
a little
true.
more. You know, maybe it was kind of a play.
She's like,
to,
this is a Latin beat, so I'm playing it for this global audience.
Retweet for Brazil.
in Salt Lake City, Utah. But you know, I
appreciate it.
I get, you know, I definitely get it. But she does tend to do that, you know, in the right moments. But yeah, you know, I think this was another one my friends really liked because you know
Yeah.
they're very sexy lyrics.
Oh, yeah.
Very,
A lot of like casual fans really love this song.
yeah, like a lot of people really like the lyrics.
Especially when
and
the album came out.
stuff. Yeah.
Because this was, like you said, a time when there wasn't streaming or iTunes.
I said
Yeah.
that, yeah.
Jeff
Or-
said it.
Oh,
Abby.
sorry.
But actually, not that anyone would know who we're talking.
Yeah.
He's just looking at Bianca.
Yeah.
I'll avert my eyes to Jeff when you said, because people couldn't pick like and listen to songs here and there from albums without buying the whole album
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah,
much,
that's
or like
true.
burning it or whatever we used to do. So like, it was interesting to me when it came out within a week or so after. Everyone who had like listened to the album in some way, that was the song that a lot of people have been like, I love this song, track 4 or whatever.
Yeah.
It was, or 5 or whatever track it was. Even and then it was never really a single.
True. All right, guys. We have so many more songs to go. Let's keep it going. Love Embraces Me interlude.
Yeah, this was kind of cool because I thought it was cool because it was very clearly, and you know, if you're a fan, you kind of knew this, that like, you know, and I always thought it was very weird that she'd have an interlude, a song, then another interlude, but it was kind of like her putting like that relationship to rest, that part of her life to rest, and kind of, you know, moving on to the to this new love, new potential
Like
love.
Infatuation was just kind of like, you know, puppy love, like flirting, and Love Me for me was like solidifying.
Yeah,
I mean,
but it was
For all the
cool.
stands out
I
there,
mean,
we
yeah.
can all probably agree that Infatuation's about her first boyfriend.
oh, that the
Jorge
guy that was
Santos.
in the Come On Over video,
Yeah.
the dancer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but
He's
actually,
very famous with the fandom.
not to jump ahead, but I'm just realizing this. I don't know why I'm realizing this 15 years later, but Infatuation is like, you know, meeting the guy for the first time. Loving Me for me is getting into the relationship. Impossible is like
Having first issues in a
having like,
relationship.
I don't know if about this. And then Unappreciated is like, I gotta bounce. So I think that's cool. Like in that, the middle of the album is kind of like a storytelling, like relationship wise. But yeah, this is me just figuring this out. But
Yeah, but even if
She
you
did say she's not a stan.
yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
Wow.
but you know, at the same time, they're not a lot of these. You know, and this is something I always appreciated Christina about. And actually, if you look at all 5 singles from Strip, none of them were about love. None of them were about like
That's
relationship.
true.
You know, so many songs are about love and sex. And
That's true.
This
Because she
one
didn't
was
really
about
go like the cliche route with that.
no, that's the thing, and that's why I think my mind was just so opened at the time. As like, you know, obviously Gina Bottle, Girls or What a Girl Wants, Come On Over, you know, all very flirty, you know, fun, you
Yeah,
know,
like
about
generic pop
being in
message
love,
of, like,
of
Yeah.
love and flirting and relationships and
Which is
everything. But
fine. Those
literally,
songs are great
of
too.
course, it's
But-
fine, you know, and like, but at the same time, you know, these songs, and that's something I always really, really appreciate. And that's actually something that I look for in artists today is that, like, you don't need every single song to, you know, because it's not that love is bad or uninspiring, but like, it's obviously very inspiring. But like,
Yeah.
she made a conscious choice. And there are songs about love, obviously. There's a lot of songs about love. But there's, you know, she really wanted to show the breadth. And I think even those songs that you were saying, Loving Me for Me is obviously very lovey-dovey. But then, you know, she's also talking about like the, you know, the hard parts of it and feeling unappreciated in your
Impossible.
relationship.
And I like that with Impossible that, I mean, she teamed up with Alicia Keys for that song.
Yeah, that was
And I
big.
love that it has like that, I don't know if we'll call it jazzy, but it's like very
bluesy.
soulful.
It's more like
yeah.
soul.
blues.
Yeah, and I think that type
Very
of
Aretha Franklin.
yeah, I think that type of sound kind of amplified the message even more. Like I'm glad
Oh,
it
yeah.
wasn't just like, you know, a straight pop
Yeah.
song. I think that was really cool choice.
Going
Yeah.
back to loving me for
Yeah.
for a second. Me for a second.
Loving me for
I
me
think
for
that's another
me.
track that like a lot of people who are not hardcore stans really like.
That's
like,
what I've realized recently. Yeah, is that a lot of people bring, and actually, I remember when Bionic was being promoted, and this is really
Yeah.
showing how intense I am. I remember I was listening
No, I
to a
love
radio
it.
station interview with her, and the radio station DJ was like, she's like, oh, I love Loving Me for Me, and Christina's like, oh, I love that song too. I think there's a song on the new album called Sex for Breakfast, and I think you'll love that song too.
I love
but
that
yeah,
song.
like a lot of people, and that song's really aged quite well. That like sort of neo
Loving-
soul. It's very still light and electro and
it's so pretty and so
yeah,
Like
and the
flutters
harmonies
like
and
the
everything.
Yeah.
and the falsettos. and
Yeah.
I love when she does her falsettos because
Yes.
obviously we know her for like that gritty, intense sound. But
Oh,
when
yeah,
she
but-
goes like to her higher octaves, like
Yeah.
So
Very,
I wish
very
you make more
sexual.
music like that, like more soul.
Maybe we'll get it for the next
neo
album.
soul, like. And I think Questlove actually did the percussion on "Loving Me for Me" too. Which is
Really?
interesting,
ooh,
yeah,
cool fun
on
fact.
that album.
Yeah.
Um,
So
the
oh wait, are you finished
and
talking
then,
about Love Me for Me?
well, yeah, I mean that one was obviously about her ex-husband or Jordan.
Who at the time she was very
was
in
her
love with.
yeah it was her, and I thought it was interesting though that, and this is something that I like really thought about too, is that like Love's Embrace was like her talking about how she was scared to be in love, but then the next step was like he is loving me for me.
Yeah.
But then we still got into all the it wasn't cliche, it was just very like different in
Yeah.
that way.
All right, Impossible. Well, I touched on it a little bit, but do you have any more thoughts?
So
on
good.
I mean, a lot of
Impossible.
I'm just gonna say that about every song. So good.
I know.
well, a lot of fans remember seeing her record that with Alicia at the
On-
MTV
yeah.
Diary, or what was that?
She's
Stripped
like-
in the MIC, or
No,
it was Diary. Yeah, and she chose Alicia because Christina was one of the few artists at that time, at least in pop music, who were using themselves as backup vocals, and Alicia Keys is doing that too. And I thought that was so cool that like they were kind of, and I think it's the only time I've ever heard anyone refer to her as Chris.
Oh yeah.
What's up, Chris? I've
Play
like,
something
never
for
heard
me,
Speak on it,
Alicia.
girl.
Speak on
Just
it, girl.
got something on my mind.
I'm like Alicia Keys. Yes.
Underappreciated. This is one of my I do like every single song on this album, but this is the song that I play the least.
I'm gonna
of.
murder you. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm gonna jump over this table.
I'm gonna come for you because honestly, I feel like this is one of the most, ironically,
Oh, you do?
underappreciated songs on
Okay,
the album.
speak on it.
Like I just feel like it's so funky. It's so like sassy. Her vocals are so like towards the end where she's just going off all the riffs and all
Yeah.
the ad libs and like she's going in, and plus like the message of just like not putting up with the dude's shit because it's like who you've been dating, who's like not pulling his weight in the relationship or not,
Yeah.
adding anything new, and things get stale. And I don't know. I just love it so much. Such like a fun, funky song where
Yeah,
fun to sing along to.
It's not. I wouldn't say it's like. Yeah, I think probably a lot of fans would agree that it's kind of it's not their favorites, but but I think though too. And I'll just keep saying this, I feel like over and over, is that like Underappreciated could like, it wasn't just, a typical love song. It was also about, feeling, I think she was trying to say, I think it doubled as a message for how she felt as an artist too. I think she thought she was being underappreciated at the
double
time.
entendre.
Like I think it all kind of was related
Yeah.
and sort of swarmed in that same, feeling that, she's like, I'm underappreciated in this relationship, but also like, I think she felt underappreciated as a woman because she's like, come on girls, like
Yeah,
help me out.
help
you know
me
what I'm talking
sing it
about,
out if you feel it too. Like,
Yeah, and I think there was so much more to a lot of these songs, and I think it's a song I appreciate a lot more now than I did
When it
back
first
then.
came out.
Yeah. And then a lot
Same.
of did you ever see the random clip when the like random man in like Europe like asked her to sing it in the interview,
Oh,
and
no.
she sang like
That's
Like
she
Russia?
sang
Or-
in like some I don't know what country it was.
Yeah,
I don't
I
want
don't
to
remember
offend
either.
anyone, but like it was like he like taught. I think he was just talking about how he loved Underappreciated, and he made her sing.
It was like a game show, right? And she was like a guest. something. Like
Oh
that.
wait, years later. No, this was during the strip.
Oh,
The
I was
strip
thinking it was,
promotions.
like a different thing from like.
I think I know. Wasn't that
She had the
like?
bag.
Yeah, wasn't that oh, what's it called? The game show with the suitcases.
Yeah, it was like Deal or
Suitcases.
No Deal kind of.
Deal or
but
No Deal.
another
Yeah,
country
Deal or No
version.
Deal like
and they asked her to sing
Slovakia or
Hurt,
something.
and she like sang. She was like, okay.
Oh, not her. No, that was underappreciated.
Oh,
That's what
okay.
I was thinking of.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah, it was something like that. But anyway, yeah. So there is that little clip because she's never performed it, but I do think it's an underrated sort of gem
Yeah.
of sorts. But it
There's like
definitely.
that- there's like that vocal part that's like.
Oh.
Like,
Yeah.
so good. And like the funky like first and outro.
Yeah,
So
I know
good.
exactly.
You can tell they're like live instruments.
Well, it didn't
It's just
sound quite like that, but
It sounded exactly like that.
just like that.
next
No,
up.
I-
Beautiful,
yeah.
the iconic.
Beautiful. I
is
mean,
next.
honestly, you could write a whole freaking essay about Beautiful. I mean, this is a Grammy-winning song.
Yeah.
Should have been number
Rightfully
one.
so.
B2K.
B2K,
Sit
hey.
down.
Oh wait, I think you told me about this
Yes.
before, and I was
Was
like,
it Bump Bump Up? The
It
pop
was. It was.
that is hilarious.
I blame TRL. I blame B2K. No, I'm
Blame
just
me
kidding.
because I was a huge BTK fan, but
I wonder what it was that like.
It was just radio. It was radio.
Yeah.
You know, it was like, yeah, of course, an up tempo was going to beat a
It's
down
like-
tempo.
But you also know, like back then, like the way they figured out the charts was much.
It was
different than
very
it is now.
different.
So, like, what was it that she like didn't? Was it radio? You think that?
I think it
Beautiful
was
didn't have as much
radio.
to play.
I think so. I mean, you know that Diddy, it had Diddy on it. You know, it was just
Yeah.
it was all about timing. It was
yeah, I think
literally
the timing product
It is a
messed it
pop.
up.
I can't lie.
Yeah.
B2K. song.
B2K Bump Bump
Not
Bump is a
beautiful.
great song. Did it deserve to go number one over Beautiful? No. But, and the thing is, too, is that, you know, for whatever kind of campaign what was going on, you know, things like that, you know, like, it just, the timing just wasn't right. And I would
But I mean-
argue, Beautiful is a number one single
It's
on anyone's book.
transcended.
Oh,
You know?
for sure. I
Like,
mean, it's her signature song.
It's
It is.
yeah.
And I think
it's one of
it's-
the biggest, most recognizable hits of the last like 20 years.
Yes,
sure.
no, definitely, and you know, it's just you know, it's special that she got that signature song on such a special album. You know, a lot of people, you would think that you would get the signature song on your, you know, big hit record, your first big hit record.
Yeah.
You know, obviously the debut album was all about the hit songs and things like that. But you know, she
like, this
got.
is just so timeless.
Yeah, it really is timeless. And I remember trying to explain to my parents at the time, being like, no, her next song is going to be so, because Beautiful was kind of making the rounds at that
Yeah,
point. I was
yeah.
like, no, the next single is so great because it's saying like, I am beautiful no matter what they say. Words can
Yeah.
bring me down. You are beautiful no matter what we say. We are beautiful. And I was like, okay, I'm taking you to Hebrew school. Like, it was like, it was like, I don't know why. I do remember explaining to my mom on the way to temple one
That's
day.
hilarious.
Talk about-
But yeah, I mean, this message in this song, it is beautiful, and it kind of transcends decades, I feel like, because this song is never gonna, lose, its weight in music.
It's so funny
So,
because like,
yeah.
it's kind of really corny, but also like
but it's corny in
most
like
people
a
would
good
probably
way.
let it play
Yeah.
on like and sing
Oh,
along and, like,
Yeah.
No, exactly. And, you know, I mean, just also, you know, too, what it stood for with the, you know, it had the, and once again, you know, it's very, it's very commonplace. In 2017, this all sounds quite
Yeah, but
silly to
mind
be
you
like,
guys, this was 15 years ago.
yeah, in 2002. And, you
Yeah.
know, once again, you know, we weren't seeing this from the other pop stars who were at Christina's level, but like there was LGBTQ imagery.
Yeah, there was
Yeah.
a trans person.
Oh yes, there was a trans
yeah, video.
person. Were they technically trans or were they drag? Or were
I don't
they
think it was ever made
cross-dresser?
clear.
No.
Yeah, that person is
Trans
very famous,
or
though.
drag.
Someone
Yeah.
who was
Part of the
non-gender
LGBT community.
conforming.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
Yes,
yeah, it was
or
very gender fluid
Beyond
the
just-
entire
yeah,
video.
and you
Yeah.
saw these, and I remember thinking, you know, granted, you know, in 2012, you know, I 2012 when I was 12 and you know was very young. I you know was still finding myself in all these things and
Yeah.
wanting to expecting only to see beautiful people,
Yeah.
only expecting to see gorgeous imagery and like I've been seeing from all the
heterosexual relationship.
yeah,
Yeah.
of course, and then I had already been kind of seen that with Dirty. Dirty had a lot of alternative styles
wasn't
of
like
sexiness.
the
Oh yeah, plushies, and there was a lot of
Female
that.
bodybuilder.
Oh yeah, and there was a lot of like different diversity in that video for
Yeah.
sure, and a lot of different spins on sexuality and sexiness, and then here it was once again, but shown in a very different light, a very different spotlight. It was just
Everyone
so.
had their little scene.
Yeah, there was the punk, the Mohawk guy with
Yeah.
the punk. There was the really, girl who was very skinny. There was the girl who got beat or cut her
go with
face open,
braces,
go with
and get
braces.
bullied.
Yeah, there was a boy, wanting to be a bodybuilder. There were all
yeah.
these things that were really powerful at the time that once again, I wrote kind of the piece for this 15th anniversary about kind of how strip's impact on the pop scene is really kind of felt subtly or not subtly today. But I think one day I'll have to write the essay about how
Yeah.
strip impacted me as
Yes,
a boy.
do
But yeah, it's just like seeing all those things and hearing all those things and seeing it, whether I was realizing it or not, was really impactful, I think, to me. And powerful.
Just
as a
even the
person.
scene of the two guys on the bench,
Yeah.
like, kissing.
Yes. Oh
and,
my
like,
gosh.
The fact that it was like multiple shots.
Exactly.
close
Like, it
up,
wasn't like a
two
quick
men
shot or
kissing with like
anything.
people
Yeah.
walking by looking at them.
It wasn't hinting that it was
No, it was
that they were
very
gonna
like
kiss.
obvious, and it wasn't done in like a trashy way. It was done in a very like
It was very tasteful.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, and
it was
she-
raw too. Like, it wasn't,
was
trying to
raw.
cover up.
it was like a
anything.
real. They were making
Yeah.
out. It wasn't
Yeah.
like And I remember it's funny. A lot of older, like when I say older, I mean people from a generation before me.
Mm-hmm.
They talk about Madonna's what's that tour doc she had?
The girly show,
No, Truth or Dare.
Truth or Dare.
Mm.
Yeah.
And like how a lot of gay men at that time, because gay images were even less,
Yeah,
common
that
to
was
come by
early
in media.
90s.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Going to see that movie in the theater or however they saw it, and seeing the male dancers like kiss or make out.
Yeah.
And that was the first time they ever saw like two men kiss ever, like adult men. And that
Wow,
like was
yeah.
such a impactful thing for them. And it's like I feel like a lot of people maybe had that same experience
With
with this music
Christina.
video, because the music
Yeah, 'cause
video was
I
all over
think-
TRL. It was all over people.
Yeah.
It was everywhere. That's music videos
I
were all over
think
TV.
prior to that, like, I mean, I know for sure I'd never seen two guys kiss prior to that, and I think a lot of people too. So I think it was, it was very eye opening. So
Yeah, and I think obviously Christina. I'm very aware that she wasn't like the first one to do this, or anything like that. Like
But it was
she
such-
definitely continued that legacy.
that's the
that,
thing. It wasn't like for play. Like, this was, she was. I mean, she still is like very, a big LGBTQ supporter.
Yeah, and she's
still a
from-
feminist. So it's like
Yeah.
it wasn't just for show. Like, this is like,
Or 'cause it was,
what
like,
her
the cool
whole
thing to do,
Yeah,
or-
this is what her whole artistry is
exactly.
about.
And I think a lot of us, I think a lot of, I'll be like totally honest. I think a lot of artists kind of, if they were quiet before, when it kind of came more the norm, more the zeitgeist, that's when they really started embracing their gay fans and whatnot. But
For sure.
Christina, she was doing it with Beautiful. I remember she was never political, never really talked about her political beliefs
Early on.
until Prop 8 and all those things. And she's like, I don't really like sharing these things, And then back then, it wasn't even really something you talked about either. Like, you could say, go vote. It's important to vote. But no one ever was like, screw this person, screw that.
Yeah.
Now we're obviously, it's a very different time.
Taking
Yeah,
a side.
yeah.
But I remember back then she was giving an interview in like 2008. It was around like Keeps Getting Better time, and she was saying, I have to speak out about this because of I do have the gay community's been so good to me.
Yeah.
I have so many gay fans. I cannot sit back and let something like Prop 8 happen. And I thought that was really powerful too, because it was just like, okay, like here she is.
Always
making
ahead
a
of her
stand,
time.
and it wasn't like, once again, I don't know if a lot of artists were doing that.
No,
so.
like, it wasn't a power play. Like, she's just very, compassionate about situations like that. But
Yeah.
let's move on to Makeover. I love this song. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like I like that she kind of went into like this, I don't even know what to call it, like grungy rock.
Yeah.
Like, it was like kind of like Fiona Apple-y to
Like
me.
Courtney
And it's like,
Love-ish.
yeah, it was so cool. It's like, for her,
And the way she
I
sang
mean,
it
you
was
think
so
of,
different
I
than
mean,
what she-
think of Christina, you think of pop, and you're just like
Yeah.
mainstream
Or, like-
audience. And when she puts out Makeover, you're like, this is like
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
dope.
It's it's jarring even. Like,
Yeah.
and I actually
It's
had
a
a
little
conversation
gritty and
with someone recently
yeah.
who said that they really don't like that song. But
Really?
I
I
said
love this
you
song.
you can appreciate it, a little like later,
I will. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say when the album first came out, this is one of the songs I like was not. I was like,
Oh yeah, this is the song that I played the most.
I was like, this is
think.
okay,
Yeah.
and but I would like to skip it sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, or if I'd let it play maybe, but like I wasn't super into it. But then like as I like listened to it more and more, now it's like one of my favorite things she's ever done.
Yeah,
only
same
because
here.
it's like so unexpected at the time.
Yeah, and I think that was also a good way for her to get her anger out as well, because she's
Yeah.
screaming on the chorus.
Yeah.
And like
No,
it's very
definitely.
raw and rugged, and I love that like I don't know if you would call it, like Middle Eastern, like that.
I
That her
always struggle.
runs-
What's it called? Like
Yeah,
the
I don't know how to-
dum.
Like the actual percussion and her runs towards the end. Like
Oh,
that,
yeah, like, very echoey,
"Whoa."
like,
I
yeah.
can't do it as good as her, but yeah, it has so many different elements in the song. It's kind of like throwing in the dishwasher, like all these like different sounds, but
Yeah.
it turns out
it's very,
really
like,
cool.
layered.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and that's
but
the thing is that like
raw,
it's
too.
right. No, I freaking and that's another one. Yeah, that I've learned to appreciate. She was like doing this like almost like Riot Girl sort of thing. Like why?
Yeah.
Why? And it's so funny. I had this conversation with someone the other day as well. I was like, when I heard the title Makeover, I was like, oh, cute, it's gonna be a song about like makeup, or like can't wait to get our let's put on our lash and our eyelashes and everything. But
Little do we know that was
little did I
planned,
know it was like
right?
dum dum
Yeah.
dum.
Dum, dum, dum.
I just wanna get away. Right, like like it was like way crazy
Yeah.
than like and just and once again I was unexpectedly
Impressed?
once again like I keep saying once again, but like it wasn't what I thought I wanted, but it is what I needed. It's not what I wanted, but it's what I
Not what you
needed.
expected, and not what
Yeah.
you thought you wanted.
I gave you just what I needed, and it's like it just opened my eyes up to this like thing, and also I remember like her performing that on tour. I was like, oh gosh, but like at the time it was still like really exciting. Like
Next up is Cruise. This one is a personal favorite for me.
oh,
I
this
think
is probably my favorite song of all
yeah,
time.
I think between Cruise and Soar, guys, I don't know if you guys could clarify for me, but I think those two songs are probably they resonated the most with the fighters, like Cruise and Soar. 'Cause I was reading a lot of your comments on Twitter, and some of you said, it was like helped come out to your parents and kind of like find yourself when you were
That's beautiful.
younger. So I think those two songs, I think Cruise especially, just for me personally, it was good just to kind of even though I was only a child, it was still good to like.
You're like,
I know. No,
Like
because
where?
when
Fifth
you
grade?
go through. Wow, I'm leaving for recess. Okay. But
I'm leaving for gym class.
But
No,
like the
I-
transition to like middle school to high school, and you're like, well, people are gonna like me. Like I don't really fit into like a certain group. Like I'm not a jock. I'm not a cheerleader. I'm not a nerd. So I think Cruise is like, you know what? I know what you're going through, but it's going to be okay. So,
Yeah, and at least me personally, Cruise is probably one of my favorite songs of all time. I listen to it
Yeah.
whenever I'm going through kind of like a new phase in life or something like that.
Yeah.
Songs, in my opinion, don't really get more classic than that. It's just piano and guitar and voice, and it keeps growing and leading up to its thing. And I just love the message that it's that it's you're leaving to something better. There's something always better around the corner.
Exactly.
You're going to something. You're leaving, and it's a sad idea that the idea of leaving is sad, but
But like, there's
Something.
better
yeah,
days ahead.
and I
Yeah.
still to this day can't. Oh my gosh, I still to this day can't totally figure out what why she says, but somehow I miss it. I think I'll really miss it one day. Like, what do you think that's about?
Maybe it's kind of just like a nostalgia. I mean,
Like, why?
obviously
But why would she
nostalgia,
miss it if she's going
but-
back to a better thing?
Well, because sometimes you have that like longing feeling, like despite it being good or bad, you kind of reminisce on your past. So maybe she'll miss certain aspects.
Yeah, I think it's like
of
a
the
thing where it's
past.
like you see
Yeah.
things clear
Yeah,
in hindsight.
yeah.
So maybe it's like she'll be able to hopefully one day look back fondly on that period.
Yeah, and
of
be like, I've
unsure
grown
or
and,
awkwardness, and
like, the lessons that
yeah,
she learned.
Exactly, and look
Yeah.
at how far she's come.
Yeah,
and like,
I agree.
And that she hopes that she'll be able to say I miss it because like she'll.
I mean,
see
it's
it.
just a moment, and whatever she was going through was a moment in her life that was very impactful.
Interesting how you
so.
said that, like, it was like you going from like junior high to high school.
Yeah.
It was like it came out, like I said, right around my senior year. So like this song for me when I was like the summer before going off to college and leaving all my friends. I remember
see,
playing
it's a
this in
very
the car, being
transitional
like,
song.
my hand through the wind. I'm like, yes,
I'm sure if
I'm
this
doing
is like
this
a
right
good.
now.
I mean, it's
a
called
great driving
Cruise.
My hand is literally out through the
It is
window.
literally through the wind. No,
I
but yes,
cannot.
but it's a great driving song when you're like
Yeah.
It
pensive,
is.
reflective.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! I mean, I listen to it. I listen to it on New Year's. I listen to it on the Jewish New Year. I listen
all
to
the
it
holidays.
literally because I just think I just love the message so much. The idea of like, and I think Christina's kind of like this too. Like it really does seem like I think a lot of fans know that she doesn't keep a lot of. She moves on quite quickly. She doesn't. She changes a lot. She has left. She's definitely left stripped. Stripped is still her, but she definitely left stripped.
Oh, for
she
sure.
moves
I
on.
mean,
She
she's a
embraces new
mom,
things.
She's older now. So.
Yeah,
Right.
and but she also doesn't need that. There's also I think a time of pain for her too,
Oh,
and a
yeah,
lot of
yeah.
like darkness too.
Period of
Yeah.
her life.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
she doesn't seem like she has always been no regrets moving forward. I don't need anything more. So yeah.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, we could talk about Strip for
I
Cruise for
know,
forever.
I know. Soar.
Soar. You kind of
I-
already touched on it a little
yeah.
bit, but it's another like, it's kind of like beautiful part two. Like as far
Oh,
as
yeah.
the
Oh, that's
message,
interesting.
like it's like you don't fit in. Maybe that's fine.
Yeah.
Like that's great. Like you're great for your differences and your uniqueness of who you are, and like all these kind of reasons why people might not feel like they
There's
fit in.
gonna be times
Yeah.
when you
Yeah.
fall in
But
love.
it's like
And I love that it was like the girl who wonders if he's good enough for him, and then the boy who wonders if they're good enough for them. Like
Yeah.
it's like I like that she had a boy story, a girl story. It was she
Very
she
inclusive.
yeah, it wasn't just like I mean
And she didn't make it about her.
no,
It was kind of like a message for other
yeah,
people.
and it was
We're
and,
talking directly to.
Yeah.
yeah, and the gospel feel
gospel,
of it.
that
oh my
high
gosh.
note that she hits
Yeah,
at
the
the
Mariah
end.
notes. She goes, "Woo, yes, love
Girl.
it." Yes. Yeah, and Soar, it definitely, in my opinion, it's I like Cruise more, but they're kind of right there with each other. I can't.
Yeah, they go hand in hand. They're like two peas in a
Yeah.
musical pod.
And then
Yeah. Oh yeah. Go ahead.
strangely, out of nowhere, the
Yeah.
yeah. turn to get mine, get yours.
The ode to
Yes.
casual sex.
Because
Yes.
we know Christina is a lot of different things. So
But it's just funny that it goes from like very motivational,
like,
inspirational,
spread your
and it's like,
wings and
listen.
soar. Now I'm gonna get mine and get off.
But it's so amazing.
I mean, I think of the last 6 tracks kind of
Yeah.
they're grouping together. I see like
Yeah, 'cause Get Mine,
Cruise
Get
and
Yours.
Soar and Impossible and Underappreciated
yeah,
Beautiful.
get
they're
mine,
all,
get yours, dirty.
Yeah, because Get Mine, Get Yours, Get Dirty. Yeah.
the intro
Yeah.
to get mine, get yours is like it slowly goes into
It
it.
Yeah,
does.
it doesn't like
It
hit
doesn't
you. It
just, like,
doesn't
go-
hit you.
So like the transition was still
Yeah.
thought of, like
Yeah, and I love that
it's a sexy song. It's not like
Yeah, like during this time, people were calling her all sorts of names.
Oh, yes.
And I love that, despite that, she still talked about casual sex. And it was so freeing, too,
Yeah.
because I feel like, as with Can't Hold Us Down, she talked about double standards, but with Get Mine, Get Yours, she was actually
she's like,
living.
I'm doing it. She's like, I
Yeah.
am having a whole
Yeah,
anthem.
she was like, listen, I don't want any strings attached. This is just for cuffing season. Like, you're going to be
Yeah.
gone in a few months.
Like
so.
if we're both adults and we're both
Yeah.
okay with that, then what's the problem?
Exactly.
Like,
I
Yeah.
love that.
I mean,
as long as you don't get your feelings wrapped up, then
yeah.
I won't get mine.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely didn't understand what it was about at the time, but I
Jeff was a little too young.
loved the late night vibe of it. I remember listening to it like at night, be like, "Oh yeah."
He's like, this is sexy. I don't know what
Ooh,
it's
yeah.
about.
Like little, I didn't know what it was about, but
Sensual.
consensual, yes.
Yeah.
But
and
it
I love
is
that.
very
that
like if you think about it, like I thought it's kind of risque for
Oh, for sure. Especially
a
during
young
that
female
time.
pop star talk
Because
about
she
sex
was
in such a, like,
21.
Yes.
yeah, and
Yeah.
she's like, get mine, get like I'm
Yeah.
gonna
Yeah.
get off. Like
Yeah.
literally, that's what she's saying.
Yeah,
is-
like,
and you can get
boy,
off too.
give
like,
me my orgasm and
like, just
leave.
being
Thank
so
you.
unafraid to talk about sex.
Yeah.
and enjoying sex. It's like
Oh, God. I love it. And then speaking of sex, dirty. Dirty.
you ain't dirty.
You're ready to party.
I mean, this one it was the one that just shocked me, and I didn't know what I was really
Yeah.
hearing of.
This
I
was the
remember-
lead single.
It was the lead
Yeah.
single, and I talked about this in my piece a bit about how this was the introduction. It was, and it's so unfortunate. Or it's not unfortunate. I don't know why I'm actually saying it like it's a bad thing, but like it's just so funny how like nowadays, this is, I mean, now, yes and no. Like Miley got a lot of heat for it when she kind of did
when
her
Bangers came out.
moment,
Yeah.
but it worked.
But it was more
but
acceptable because that was the era.
Yeah, and it was it's a much
I
more
think
sex
Miley got more
positive.
heat for it because like people thought of the appropriation,
appropriate-
of, like, twerking
yeah.
and, like using the backup dancers who were black women. And,
Yeah,
like, using
but
the
she didn't really
props.
get heat for being sexual. It's more of like
Yeah,
the
and Christina
appropriation.
is, she is a woman of color
Yeah.
herself.
Yeah,
half
people
Latina,
kind of
half
forget
Ecuadorian.
that she's actually
Yeah.
Latina.
So, but it.
I don't know if I call her a woman of color.
She has
she's-
diverse
Yeah.
to her, but she, I just remember hearing it. I was like, what is this? And
Yeah.
not even knowing really what the song was about. I got it, but I didn't get it. Like I was like kind of like, okay, like this works. It's fun or whatever, but it was just the overall backlash and the overall over the
Yeah.
topness about
It
it,
was a
all
lot
Yeah.
happening.
was just too much.
I
I'd
remember
like,
watching the making of the video.
yeah,
And I think that's like,
I was shocked.
was the
by it.
song out before then, or was that when the song kind of premiered too? Because
I
back
don't
in that
remember.
day, like some songs you really didn't hear until the video
Yeah.
came out.
I
Like,
forgot. Yeah, I
like,
think it might have
you
been all
heard
at
it
once.
randomly here and there, but you
Yeah,
like a
I
way
think
to
I
download
heard it
Yeah.
like on the radio or something, but that was
So
it.
like this one, I think the visual really helped. Like as far
for
as,
sure.
Like seal the deal.
What made it?
It was
yeah.
really like
But
raunchy.
I remember watching the video and thinking, yeah, it's sexy, but even I was like, I was shocked that there was so much backlash. Even
Yeah.
then. I was like, really?
I
was
think
like,
it's just because like she was dancing sexually with other women and like her booty was out.
like,
And
sweaty
I'm
and
just like,
grinding, but like,
mind you, Madonna
know.
has done
I was like, that's how
more
I
than
picture a
this.
club to be when I
Janet
was,
has
like, in high
done this
school.
as well.
yeah,
Like there's other like pop
but, like,
icons
wasn't
who have
Slave for
done
You already
it.
out at this point?
Yeah, it
Slave
was.
for You was
That was
already
like
out.
pretty.
Yeah.
I mean, not it wasn't as.
But
far
the
as
thing is,
dirty, but-
Britney, whether people like it or not, Britney was held at a much higher not like pedestal than Christina at that time. So of course Britney could get away with it, but Christina was kind of seen as like the black sheep of the pop girls.
And I also think Britney looked like Britney, even if she was
Yeah.
being, she
Yeah,
was
Yeah,
still
Christina
pretty. She
completely
was still
changed her look.
sexy.
she
but,
still
like,
had
it
the
was
blonde
still, like,
hair.
Yeah.
Christina
completely
really
shift.
yeah, because
revamped
that's when she
everything.
put like the black extensions in, and like
Uh-huh.
her
Yeah.
makeup was like
the
more
piercings,
grungy.
everyone focused on
Very
the
tan,
piercings,
yeah.
very,
yeah, and it was
True.
just, it was, it was just unfortunate that everyone was focusing on the imagery and kind of, instead of like, Christina said this all the time, is that like she's like I wasn't like and no shade to like Slave for You or anything like that, but like I wasn't being like groped by everyone and
Yeah.
like like I was the one, like all the guys were watching me.
That's a good point,
My
yeah.
legs were
She
open.
was
She
in
controlled the
control, yeah.
the entire female gaze.
Like I was the one shaking it, like no one was like, covering me in any sort of way. Like
yeah.
it was all me.
I like that because she controlled the entire narrative. It wasn't like
Yeah.
a man was overpowering her
Like
sexuality.
the
No.
boxing,
Yeah.
Yes,
like
the
the motorcycle,
Yeah.
like it was like
even
powerful, not just
yeah,
sexy to be.
and
seen.
like when the water scene or whatever at the
Yeah.
end, it's just her with the girls,
Yeah.
like it's like it's not like some guy had to come in and like they all had to
Like,
like
rub them.
yeah, it was just
Rub
there were so many regardless of how raunchy you thought it was, regardless of how over the top you thought it was still empowering and very
Yeah.
like powerful in that way for a young
it was
woman.
so awesome.
It was, and
And
that's the
honestly,
thing.
I feel like even though she got a lot of backlash, there's that old saying, "All press is good press."
Oh, for sure.
Everyone knew she had a new album coming
Yeah.
out.
But I
She was
wish
back.
that-
she had taken a
Kinda.
long break after her debut.
But I wish
so,
that
like,
it got
she kind of
more,
been
it got
MIA.
higher on the charts. Like, didn't it like
because we
did
didn't
in
like
Europe.
number
America.
68 or something?
America didn't like Dirty 48. Yeah.
Yeah.
America really I think they might have banned it for a while or something.
Really?
Like I don't know. There was something, but it went to number 1 in the UK. Which I
Yeah.
see as that's a much bigger sign.
Yeah.
People are much more open minded
Oh, for
there.
It was a
Sure.
bigger hit worldwide compared to.
Yeah, and it's now again one of her signature songs,
Or
but
videos at least, yeah.
definitely
For sure.
videos for sure. And but it's like it's just kind of so
People
wild.
try to dress up like the strip look for Halloween. They
Oh,
go
yeah.
dirty. They don't go to like the beautiful.
Exactly,
look or
like Kylie
fighter,
Jenner
yeah.
did it and everything. But guys, before we get into last 4 songs, we're gonna take a break and we'll be right back. And we are back, guys, and we are going to finish up this extensive track
It's a long ass
list. It's
album, so it takes a
long.
long ass podcast to
long.
break it down.
But we're almost
Not
there.
even her longest though. Back to Basics
Basics
was
was longer,
longer.
right?
Bionic with the bonus tracks was technically longer as
gosh.
well.
Wow.
But yeah. Okay, so we left off at strip part 2.
Strip part
So-
2, which just comes right back into the. Sorry,
Sorry, I'm not a virgin. Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm not a slut.
Yeah, I
That.
mean,
Oh well.
It was a good way to keep continuity of
Yeah.
the theming of the
it was.
album.
I mean, I like it. It kind of. I feel like the last half, the last 3 tracks we're about to get into, kind of have a different mood than the previous tracks. So I thought. I get why it was there. Dirty kind of ended this moment, and
Yeah.
Stripped part 2 kind of brought it, back to this sort of like, back to being reflective. Once again,
Yeah.
like if we ever got a little off track, not that it was exactly off message, but like we were
I
having
think
fun.
if she just went into the voice within, it would be a
Little
little like,
jarring.
wait.
that
what's
might have been
happening?
a bit jarring.
Yeah, because like the album started off, very defiant, and then very lovey, and then F this guy, redemption,
Yeah.
let's get sexy, and then it's kind of like the reflective moment.
Well,
So,
right, and actually,
yeah.
if you remember, yeah, I mean, she
Well, she's almost like connecting them because she's using that interlude to remind her, like, I'm all these different things. Like,
Exactly.
I'm not just this. I'm not this.
Yeah.
That's true,
So,
'cause
So like,
when
maybe
it does,
was just dirty,
yeah.
but now I'm gonna be the voice within.
No,
like,
that's a
I
good
can be
point,
both.
actually.
Well, and you know what it kind of reminded me of, and I know I keep going, referencing a lot of different albums and things like this, but like on Bionic, when she went from "You Lost Me" and then to "I Hate Boys," that
Oh,
was
yeah.
very jarring.
I was like, sis.
like, sis,
What are you doing?
What's going?
I love both songs. but
Yeah,
they didn't
of
really mesh
course.
together
I
well.
hate boys. Yeah, but if there was sort of like something to kind of like end the moment of the softer songs, that mood,
Yeah.
I think it could have ultimately worked a little better because
Oh, for sure.
I don't even remember. I'm looking at them right now, and it's like messing with me. I'm like, but dirty to strip part 2 to the voice within makes sense.
Yeah. Let's talk about the voice within.
So good.
Young
Again.
girl, don't
And
cry.
Okay, you know what? I've never actually said this out loud. Is the voice with it? Does it reference a lullaby or something, or like a
Well,
classic
let's
nursery
look
rime
on
or something?
Wikipedia.
I don't
think
think
so.
it does. Okay, because I remember during being like, oh, this is something I've heard before.
It does sound like the piano notes. It does sound very lullaby-ish.
Yeah, like dude.
It's very calming when
It
you listen
is,
to
and
it.
you know what? And honestly, 100%, it was not. I didn't love it at first. I didn't really get its place. I thought it was just kind of like
It's just there for
yeah,
me.
and I remember
So,
she in the concert too. She sort of took a break, or it was like that first slow moment from the concert from the strip tour, if you remember, when she covers up, she puts on the big jacket.
But it was early in the.
It was early,
It
but
was
like-
after
Uh-huh.
the first song, I think.
Yeah, but this song really hit me a couple years later when like I just sort of like I don't know, I finally felt like its calmness, it's the inner message it had, just being like, yeah, like trust what you got going on. You've come this far, you've done what you've done all this so far. Trust your voice, trust yourself,
Exactly.
trust what you've done so far. It's you'll be okay. And then I don't know what it is. I finally
I
got
think
it.
Also, it's kind of like a song to herself.
Oh, it definitely
Like maybe
is.
she kind of
Young
started
girl.
writing it as like that, and then realized it had
And it just came.
a wider message.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's very possible.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
It's
do-
like she talks
yeah.
a lot, especially in this era and ever since, about trusting her instincts
Mm.
and like not letting the label or whoever tell her what she should and shouldn't do, even if it doesn't do well right away. Like Dirty kind of flopping in the U.S. on the charts, but like clearly it paid off in the end because it got the attention, and then the shift to Beautiful, like it just worked, and it
Yeah.
was like a marketing whatever. So like,
Oh, is that?
maybe
And she
that's-
loved that. She like totally like freaking
But
like.
I
found that
do wish
hilarious.
that it got a better music video.
The voice
I mean,
within.
I mean, I get it. Like it's
very,
supposed
like,
to be
simple. And
Yeah, it was like a one shot, black
Yeah.
and white, with her, makeup
it was
free.
like also kind
but-
of towards the end of the era. So like
Yeah, but I just wish
it's like the fifth. Single,
wasn't-
It was the
fourth single.
fifth single.
as
and
I mean, since it was the end of an era, I wish it had a little bit more impact.
I
Compared
think
to the other.
I
videos.
think fans kind of debate this a little bit, but I always got the sense that she wasn't totally happy with this being the last single or the single, in the end. Because I think, everyone knows, if you're a fan, that she was performing Impossible all the time. She was performing What else is she performed Impossible a lot. She
Yeah.
really liked that song.
Early on, too, in the era.
Yeah, like she
She'd do like medleys of Impossible and Beautiful.
right, yeah, at the American Music
And
Awards
MTV stripped in New York. Or
yeah,
whatever,
she
that
performed it there.
Impossible.
Right.
Like before the album was even out.
Yeah,
She clearly really liked that
she
song.
really liked
Yeah.
that one. People were saying like Infatuation was like
Oh, yeah.
getting some play in like Latin markets and things like that. She performed Walk Away out of nowhere.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Then she gave that interview. I still remember Allure magazine because my mom subscribed to Allure and we got the I had a physical
Hi,
copy.
Pat.
Hey,
Hi, Ma-
hey, mom.
Shout out to Jeff's mom.
Shout out to
Benjamin.
Mrs. Benjamin, the real Miss Benjamin, expat. She
Pat _ Benjamin.
I wish she was on Twitter. No, but yeah, I remember she described it as something like, oh yeah, holiday ballad, blah blah blah.
That's what
and, like,
Christina said?
That's what she said. Yeah, could you not?
She was
Go look
over
it
it.
up. Yeah, it seemed like she was
That
very
is so
over it.
weird.
It
That
is a
is
little
true,
weird,
a little
you
weird,
know.
yeah.
Or like I think Mark, you and I have talked a lot about how maybe like Cruise could have been a really perfect single.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Voice of Them was a bad single. I think it went to like number 28 or
Mm-hmm.
something. It worked for the holidays, etc. But it did feel a bit odd, yeah, to end this sort of
Yeah.
very empowered,
It was
very
such
strong.
like a huge era for her, and
Yeah.
I feel like it just ended a little flat with Voice Within.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
and I think also she was getting ready to move on. You know, she didn't
I mean,
really
I
perform it.
get
I
it,
mean, she didn't
but-
perform "Can't Hold Us Down" either, but she did give it a lot of promo.
Mm.
But I don't know. It's like the tour had already ended. You know, she
Yeah.
was definitely winding things down, maybe ready to get into the next. She was getting ready.
I think that's
actually.
also part of why the video is so simple. Is I think it was shot while she was on tour.
Oh,
So
That
she
makes
probably,
sense.
like didn't have the ability / desire to like put a lot of effort
put
and
a lot of
time and
yeah, no, that
shooting
makes
hours
sense.
and money into like this.
But Dave LaChapelle
Fifth
did
video.
shoot it. You know,
Yeah, but-
He's a huge like artsy
Yeah,
photographer.
that's maybe
so-
part of why it's also so simple and just one shot.
yeah.
It's like, how can we do a simple, cheap video
But
that
make
also
it
is, like,
look
artsy and
artsy.
like black and white and one shot?
Yeah,
You're just
and you
running
know,
through this warehouse.
Yeah.
it is a bit of an homage to the whole black and white feel that she sets from the album, you know, from the album artwork, from the beginning kind of looks of it all. So maybe it's just kind of tying it all into one sort of thing.
Yeah.
But I think we all do kind of agree that, you know, we were hoping for a bit more of a punch to end it all. But
Agreed.
I do love that song though.
I love
No,
it
it's
now.
it's a pretty song.
Nowadays,
And
I've
that's
listened to it
another
more
one
than ever.
that I feel like a lot of casual non-stands like really are drawn to. Like
Yeah.
my friends who don't really care about her either way, like they enjoy her but they don't stand
go
for her,
ham.
or like they don't really buy her music every time. Like they really like a couple of them I know do really like this song.
Wasn't it Ed Sheeran who also said like he loves that song too? Like that was
So
like
random.
I know, right?
Yeah.
It's like so fun, but I
He
love
has
it.
taste, I guess. I'm okay. This song
I'm okay.
is a tearjerker.
Yeah.
I remember, you guys have to let me know because I forgot what special it was in when she was recording the song like on the floor. She was wearing like that.
Diary.
It was a diary
I think
special.
so, yeah.
Yeah, I
Oh,
like
where they filmed her
vividly-
recording it? Yeah, it was the diary.
Yeah, like she was like on the floor, like on the carpet in the studio, like wearing like
Yeah.
a yellow T-shirt
Mm-hmm.
and like recording it. Oh, so
Yeah.
Yeah,
heartbreaking.
Now
that's
she'll
another
put
one
it-
with Linda Perry.
Yeah, one take, I think, right? Or was that just one take?
I think so, yeah.
She might have like fixed it a little bit, but
Knowing her, yeah.
yeah, I mean that song. Oh my gosh, it's like so intense. And you know,
Yeah.
once again, you know, it's like I remember when the interview first came out. I think it was like an Us Weekly interview. They introduced the song and the story and everything that was happening
Yeah.
before the album came out. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, like we had no idea. And like, you know, she's not only talking about something that, you know, it's not what the pop stars were talking about. No one was talking about their.
No.
you
Everyone's
know,
doing like upbeat, like oh I'm in
Yeah,
love
or-
type of songs.
and-
yeah.
So it's interesting that like it's her second album, but also like granted she had only had 2 albums at this point, but like she took that long break, long for a pop star. So like she had been around for a while, and she hadn't talked about this yet.
No.
Right, no one
Like,
really
it's
talks
like
about
a
when
new
the
part
dad.
of her story that like was
Yeah.
just coming out.
Right,
and, like-
they knew the dad wasn't around,
Yeah.
but and they knew her mom had remarried and had a different name, but Yeah, it was not really like discussed what had gone into that. And like even if there were, and I'm thinking about, there definitely were sad songs at the time, but not
But
this
this was
personal.
just heartbreaking.
I know, and
Yeah.
it definitely, it's so interesting despite how. And this is where I really learned actually, the strength that comes with vulnerability is that, she was this so much power, so much force, so
Yeah.
much empower. But at the same time, she was also being
yeah.
so vulnerable and saying like, she wasn't saying I'm great or I'm sad.
No,
She was saying I'm
okay.
okay.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm fine as a result. I know I'm affected by this. I know I have trauma from this.
And yeah, because she's been holding on to this, since she was a little kid. So I'm sure it had to be a huge weight lifted off her shoulders, And for her to be, I mean, this is only her, second album, just like mainstream wise. And I feel like this, for her to be that honest, so young, and this could have gone either way. So I feel like it could have been like a really bad look or really good look. People, could have taken it however they wanted to. But for her to just put that out there, and just be so honest, I think it was a very good move.
And I think she's even said before that, like, even though she says I'm okay, it's almost like in some parts she's asking, like, she's not sure if she's okay.
Yeah, I think she's kind
like
of affirming.
trying to having affirmative belief behind it that she's okay, but she's not 100% sure herself that she's okay.
Oh yeah, and I mean, when you say I'm okay, when you do say that, everyone knows, there's something more to be seen for it,
like,
know.
What's wrong?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
When people ask me, I don't want to go into that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
sometimes you're like, okay, I really don't need to know your whole life story. I just asked how you do it. Is it? Go with her. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, when
the song
Mark
or album,
when
so.
Mark walks into the office and asks me how I do it, and I say I'm okay.
I'm
You,
like, whatever.
like I haven't had enough coffee for this.
I'm like,
yet.
you're gonna get on the floor and cry and sing the song.
Lord. But
Yeah,
and I love
no.
that you could hear the literal pain in her voice, like
Oh,
her voice
yeah.
cracking, and it's
No.
very tear filled.
And you could- So, because it's almost like she had to. I'm sure there was part of her that didn't want to go there, like on a song,
Yeah.
public facing, and obviously Linda Perry and her have that relationship where Linda can pull those things out of her and convince her like it's okay to not sound perfect, it's okay to like be vulnerable and
Yeah.
like sound a mess and be true honest.
Exactly.
And like it kind of ties to her relationship with men and with people in power. And that kind of speaks to the whole message of a lot of these songs of like, I don't care what's expected or what's like considered right or like,
yeah,
you
she's
know,
steering the
like,
wheel.
I'm going to do what I want. And
Right.
I'm not going to let someone tell me what to do. And
Oh yeah, I mean, can you think about the conversations that were going on, and there's a song about the domestic abuse on my, they like
Yeah.
I experienced as a child, they had just gotten, the record label had just put out, Genie in a Bottle and Come On Over, What a Girl Wants, granted they also got a, Spanish album from her, Christmas album and things like that, they definitely got their, money's worth for
their
sure.
pop star quota.
Yeah, for sure, way more probably, and that's the thing is
She
that
did a lot.
Yeah,
and
we
that's-
probably weren't expecting this.
Well, right. And she had so earned it. I'm not saying that as in a bad thing or anything. She knows that she put in the work she had to do to be able to get to this place. And she said a bunch of times the label wanted Genie in the Bottle Part 2.
Yeah,
They
she could
wanted.
have easily done another
She could have.
debut style album and probably
She
got a
could
few
have.
hits.
She could have popped it out the next year. That album came out in 1999. The songs kept going until 2000. She could have put it out in 2001.
She like, updated the sound a little bit.
Yeah, and gone super fun and done it safe and continued on, but she didn't.
Should have
and
done
that's-
like another Lady
that's-
Marmalade and like
That's
she
true.
could've-
Yeah, and I always loved Christina for her voice, but stripped, and all these things in it. This is what made me the true believer and fan of just kind of the messages, everything
Right.
about it. I just felt like I learned, so it was affecting me in so many ways. That I
Yeah,
didn't
and I love
realize.
that she carried on the story as well, like with Back to Basics when she
Oh yeah.
with Oh Mother.
Yeah, but that was even if I'm okay was her addressing herself. Oh Mother was kind of the next step in kind of seeing past herself, being
Right,
like, okay,
being,
my
more mature.
Yeah.
Seeing
Yeah.
like the situation as a fellow adult looking back at her mom going through it.
Yeah, it's a good like
Uh-huh.
reflective.
Yeah,
moment.
trying to be
Yeah.
comforting to someone else. It was I'm okay, but then the next part is oh mother.
make sure my
it's
mom's okay, too.
Yeah, make sure the
Yeah.
other person was so affected by this as well, and telling our whole our whole story. It's not just my story anymore. It's our whole
Yeah. I
So-
love their relationship. I think
Oh
they're so
yeah,
cute.
no,
Yeah.
exactly.
Shelly, hi Shelly.
Shelly, bring back the rumor mill.
Wait, what's that?
This section
Inside
of
joke. Just inside Christina
It's
fan
this
joke.
section
Oh,
of
excuse
Christina's
me.
original website where her mom used to run the rumor mill and answer.
Oh,
like,
really? Well,
tabloid
she
rumor.
actually ran
Yeah, her
the-
mom would write right
That's
back. Like, not every
hilarious.
day, but like
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
frequently.
I love that.
And we're like, hi Shelly.
That's so cute.
Shelly Kearns.
Shelly Kearns.
And last but
Yeah.
not least, guys, keep
Last but
on
not
singing
least,
my song.
Keep on singing my song.
So good.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
just
every
once
song.
again, just songs don't get really more classic than this.
And
I
it was a
think,
good way to end the album. I
Oh,
feel
it's so
like.
it's
Totally.
exactly
Yeah.
what it needed to be. You know, just that. Oh my gosh, from the message to the huge note at the end.
Choir and-
Yeah,
To the
that- how long
choir.
did that note last for?
Oh.
How many
It's wonderful.
That
seconds?
song in general is just very long. but
Yeah,
it's, like, so
it's
good.
almost
Like,
7 minutes long.
It's so climactic.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I listen to that one, all the time as well when I'm kind of in my, reflective mode and I'm putting on Cruise and the voice within and everything. I always put that one on as well. And it's just sort of like this celebratory, song at the end. She's talking about, I believe that they can take anything from me, but they can't take
They
my
can't
inner
inner
peace.
peace.
It's just like,
It's
oh my
such
gosh.
a strong
She was
message.
so okay with where she was at.
Yeah, the
and,
thing with me is like these are such adult concepts, but
Yeah, she was
it blows my
21.
mind that she was 21 years old. Me,
Yeah.
21,
Younger.
I was
Maybe younger when she recorded.
I was
it,
a
right?
hot
So,
mess at
yeah.
21, and for her to just
I
you
could,
know,
yeah, like I'm 32.
yeah,
Cruise
it's
was one of the.
just-
I
it's
remember.
incredible.
Cruise was one of the first songs we heard about, and that she might have not even been 21 at the time. She might have recorded that when she was 20. She might have
Yeah.
recorded this one when she was 20. You can hear her. Her vocals are still maturing at the
Mm-hmm.
time. They're definitely not where they're at. When Back to Basics was recorded, or where they're at now.
Yeah.
There are some of those. You hear a bit of that still learning. And still hearing
like
that.
how like control, the runs and everything.
And it's crazy to think that she was, very, very mature. Definitely had to.
Vocally and lyrically.
Oh my
Like,
gosh, all over the
I can't
place.
think of pop stars around today, and this is no shade to anybody in particular, but like who could put an album out like this with these kind of songs, these kind of
And
themes,
have credits
like,
on the entire
and
album.
like co-written
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
co-produced and
Yeah, and just it's just such a wide range, and I just felt like we truly got a taste of her mind, and that's what that's what makes the best art, is that it was very specific to her. She clearly, as we know, she has all these musical influences. She has all these different messages going on in her head. The fact that it all kind of came together and didn't feel random. Like it's
Yeah,
very
it felt
possible
like
that
a
could.
collective piece
I
of
don't know,
work.
right? And I
even
don't
if
know.
the songs were such different genres.
Yeah, and I
sometimes,
still to this day don't know why they all sound. I mean, maybe it's just kind of that underlying message of being real and being strong and whatnot. But
it's like the transitions and the sequencing really help. with
yeah, for sure.
and the interludes.
Would you guys change anything with the sequencing or the
Sequencing?
songs or the singles or anything like
No,
that?
I mean, as
I
if-
do. I wish Cruise was a single.
See,
I
so
do.
I totally think she didn't even perform it on the strip tour at first, but then she added it for the UK tour because she said it was so special to her. But yeah, I do wonder if that could have been like a good single, or
I wonder how it would have done. I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't sound honestly that radio friendly, but at the same time, everyone loves it. So like maybe it would have. Been.
Yeah, it's just I
Yeah.
just feel like that's such a classic song.
But
Or
I
like,
think in
or
terms
what
of singles, like I feel like she chose them. It was right. Like Can't Hold Us Down is definitely like more urban. Dirty is urban as well, but it fits with pop. Beautiful is the classic song. So and Voice
Fighter
Within.
went
I'm
rock.
like, meh.
I will say
But-
the only thing I sometimes think is that Cruise and Soar right next to each other, even though I love them both,
They
it
kind of blend into each other. you
seem a
feel?
little redundant. Like the sound and the message. Like
I could see
when
that.
I used to play it, because CDs, you have to play things in order usually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
In cars and whatever. Like I would always
Yeah.
be like, this is the part of the album where everything starts like kind of like I get a little skippy.
Mixing together.
Not that I didn't love it on their own, but like almost like, okay, I want to get mine and get yours. I don't want to hear another slow song. Like or
Give me
I wanna,
the raunchiness.
Or like, okay, I don't know, something about like Cruise and Soar, like short one
Oh,
word.
they're
titles right next
both
to
one
each
words,
other.
4 letters.
They're like similar kind of feels. I feel
Yeah.
like, or like slow, like tempo. I don't know. So like maybe if they had been like mixed up a little bit, or honestly, maybe she could have dropped one. I mean, I love them
Yeah.
both, but
I
I'm
mean,
happy
you have to,
she
you have to
didn't
keep
because I want
Soar.
as much.
I mean, keep Cruise.
I mean, I want as
Soar's-
much of her as I
yeah.
could possibly get. I would love if
course.
she released all her unreleased stuff, but
Yeah, I will be.
and she does have a problem with editing, as we know. Her
Yes.
albums are super long, but
Oh,
like
yeah.
the thing is, the
They're worth
fans
it.
usually somebody in the fandom will like something. So
Yes.
Yeah, there's something for everybody.
No,
But,
exactly.
like, I mean, we'll talk about how it impacted, all the pop girls now. But back in the day, in 2002, how do you think it kind of, impacted music at that time? Because I feel like that era was just so poppy. Like Britney, she just released her self-titled a year prior.
oh yeah,
And
That was
Destiny's
very
Child,
pop,
Destiny's
like
Child
dance pop,
was
not dance pop, but
was doing was it Independent Women that around that time?
Destiny's Child, they were all just getting ready to start doing solo stuff.
Yeah.
That was like
Yeah.
when
Oh yeah,
Dilemma
because
came
Beyonce
out.
was about to go.
And Beyonce came out with Crazy in Love during the Summer of
Yeah.
Fighter.
yeah,
So
and
it
she
was-
had already had that song on the Austin Powers soundtrack.
Yeah.
The
Oh,
I really love.
Work It Out.
Yeah, I love
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Song.
And I mean, Avril Lavigne was really, really big back then.
Yeah,
You know,
Ashanti just dropped her debut album.
like there was a lot going on, but she definitely was like our alternative pop star. She was still such a pop star. She was still so popular. She was still right up there. But like she, everyone at the time, everyone was pretty much like, despite she was still accepted. I mean, maybe I don't think she lost on any
No,
opportunity.
I just think she was musically just misunderstood at that time. I
Oh,
feel like
yeah.
it took a while for people to kind of understand what Strip was all about.
Yeah,
Well, 'cause I think,
and
like-
people liked her, but they didn't. I don't think they totally got the message.
Yeah.
I think a
'Cause,
lot
like,
of times
yeah.
people want things to just be one thing they can easily understand.
Exactly.
Even if they
Yes.
can't like
They
consciously
wanted to just
think
be
that.
digestible, but
Like,
this
oh, I want
album-
like just a fun pop song, and like her.
This wasn't it.
Her thing felt all over the place if you didn't follow it.
Yeah.
And, like
Oh right, no, exactly.
Yeah, because her image changed so quickly, so drastically.
so, like I
like,
could get why
yeah.
people might not have gotten it because of that,
Yeah.
but it was still such a successful era for her that like
it was, and
I
that's
think for
the
the
thing.
most part people were with her. for
But I
most
do
of it.
think, yeah, she really did invest in it at the time. I felt like every single even had a look to it. Like she was
Yeah.
really going for it, and it definitely was a success. The tours, it was going to be extended until it wasn't, but until it got canceled. But everything she really put in the work. She really put in the promo. She really opened up, and I even think she was feeling a little underappreciated at the time because I think she's like, what the heck I'm doing, I
Yeah.
really am putting out all these different things, and that's when she was really into calling out people for lip syncing and really
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. She-
calling out the virginal singers.
very
and
sassy.
She was very
her,
very
her
down.
interviews back then were
She was low-key shady,
Yeah.
too. But
and that's
she
the thing
was
is
around that time.
Yeah.
I didn't even.
But I honestly think it was just like a thing of
I think it
feeling
was
herself and like also being.
and I think it was kind of
young.
like a defensive thing as well.
Yeah, I'd say that's
Yeah.
definitely part of it too. But yeah, I don't think she feels the need to do that anymore.
No.
But
No, she's
you know,
already
at the
solidified
She's
time-
definitely in
herself.
a different mind space now as an adult.
Yeah.
Right, but
Or
I
an older
think at the
adult.
time though she was definitely being like, what? I think she was a little like, okay, I know I've created, I've done so many different things. I've done, in my opinion, I think she really thought she was creating art, something quite different, and it was quite different at the time. But I've talked about this too, how it was just everything was so fragmented. We really only saw how she was presenting it with Dirty, and she performed "Get Mine, Get Yours" a lot of times with Dirty. A lot of time, for anyone who wasn't paying attention, they might have just thought when that album came out, and it came out at a weird time because Beautiful wasn't really sent to radio at the time. She was still very much in the leather chaps.
Yeah.
They could have just thought it was just like sort of this raunchy album of
Yeah.
hip hop bangers. They saw the album cover and they just saw
Thought it
the
was all just
topless.
dirty 14
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, how could you?
I'm
at the
sure a lot
ti-
of people did think that.
Oh, of course they did.
And I
and-
think people still honestly think that. People who
Which
like
is
never
annoying.
Really
oh yes, no, and everyone was talking
the
about.
title didn't help. Stripped. I mean, I think it's genius.
I
Oh,
think
for
it's
sure.
genius
Played
too.
off it, and then was
Yeah.
like, but it's not my clouds.
But of course, when I heard it, yeah, it was stripped.
But
Yeah.
as a fan, I will say, like, when people started like giving it the backlash for Dirty,
Yeah.
and then when she announced the album was stripped in the cover,
We
she
were like-
talked-
Oh,
I
you
was
guys were like,
girl,
really,
you're not
though?"
helping your case here.
Yes,
Literally,
exactly.
like, but I get like now, of course, in hindsight, like okay,
No, it
like
makes
you know
sense.
you're
Yeah,
doing
all
it.
bearing her soul.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is that everyone was so focused on the magazine covers and the
And the
piercings
controversy.
and
Oh, yeah.
everyone
How many
remembers.
piercings does she have?
Yes,
And
exactly.
Yeah.
Where are
The
they?
Rolling Stone
Oh, like
graphic.
the Maxim cover.
The
as
Maxim
well.
cover, the Blender cover,
Yeah.
the Rolling
She
Stone
definitely
cover.
played it up. Like
Yeah.
the Maxim photo shoot was a lot.
I remember saving those pictures and like printing them out.
You like my
was
my best
so
friend and I used to
sexy.
always do like jokingly like the hold your boob and like give the middle finger.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she was
Iconic.
definitely rebelling. I mean, maybe
Yeah.
maybe she was just maybe she knew this is this moment, and I'm gonna change it
Yeah.
up soon.
She's like whatever.
But like and she's maybe it was just like her even playing into it. I don't even know.
I mean,
but,
this was her Xtina persona.
it definitely
Sexual
was.
awakening.
Yeah.
It really was, and but the thing is, like, it's just today, that it would not be
big a
that
deal.
same, it would
Oh,
not be a
no.
big a deal, and also
Miley Cyrus
it
was
would
swinging on a wrecking ball naked, and that was like
Exactly.
no one like blinked twice really. I mean, people
And
talked
also-
about it for like a day.
Yeah, but like also, I feel like even especially now in like that was 2013. What in 2017, it would be it's so sex positive and so body embracing, and all these things.
It's so interesting how our minds change. you know?
Yeah, and
The
it's
culture, yeah.
it's
Yeah.
culture for sure. And nowadays, you would actually have backlash if you didn't show different kinds of people in your videos, or
yeah.
gay people, or and meanwhile,
People would be like, "Where are the gay people?"
Right.
I mean, I do
Exactly.
that now. I'm like, "How come
Right.
you showing all these couples no gay couples?"
where is the different body types? Where and
Yeah.
here we are. Oh my
But
gosh,
back
we're-
then, I felt like someone was doing us a favor by showing someone who looked
Of
like us.
course
Yeah.
it did, and it definitely it continued, and that is why she, of course, is a gay icon in that way for sure. I think a gay icon way earlier than a lot of her rivals and competition at the time because she made a specific play to that community and
Yeah. And it didn't seem forced at all.
no, and she wasn't just a gay icon because she made pop music that was fun dance pop music.
Right.
It was about the messages. It was about the
Exactly.
themes and everything.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
empowerment and like going against the
Yes,
grain and
of
doing being who
course.
you are
And being as
all
out
those
there as
messages speak to so
possible.
many different groups of people
Oh, for sure.
that feel marginalized. or
Yeah.
feel
Yes, I mean,
other.
I'm not naming any names, but it took a while for the others to acknowledge,
to really own it and speak
yeah,
on it.
to say, to even say the words,
Sometimes
gay
it took them until social media was a thing.
This is very true.
or until other stars jumped on the
Yeah.
trend. Just saying, BBs.
Oh.
I don't know who those bees could be referring to, but
Oh
it's
Lord, I didn't say anything.
yes, you did.
I'm keeping my mouth
That
shut.
was-
Oh my gosh, they're both nodding their heads in
Come for
agreement. Just kidding. I don't know. It's just it's something that was really again. I feel like I've said this at least 5 times in this podcast. But like it was and I hope other people were feeling this too. And I think it's led to a more open-minded political cultural mindset that we're in now is that we were getting fed these things whether we recognize it or not. We were being influenced, and
Oh,
I
for
think
sure.
I think that's what we see in Demi's music and Rihanna's music and Ariana
Well,
and
speaking
Miley's
of-
music, and that's what we're
Yeah,
also going
that's
to
the
talk
next
about too.
thing. I think definitely. I mean, there's a whole laundry list of people who have took stripped as like their blueprint and kind of be like, okay, if Christina could do it, then I could do it too. I mean, you guys
As
know.
far as going from like
As far as,
a teen pop
transitioning-
star to like an adult
Exactly.
musician.
Or like talking about
artist.
sex, unapologetically, talking about love in a different way. And you guys know I'm a huge Rihanna fan, so I'm going to reference Rihanna first. And I think in her way, going from a girl like me to good girl gone bad, that was kind of her Christina moment. Because, she chopped off her hair, she dyed it black, she was doing more, aggressive songs. And I think in that way, she kind of mirrored, what Christina was doing, which is
Yeah.
yeah, and also just
And Rated R.
taking
yeah,
in-
rated R too. I think rated R. I mean, I always reference rated R as more of her Velvet Rope moment.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
See, I took rated R as much more stripped.
Stripped?
Like, I mean, Good Girl Gone Bad kind of felt like they were still playing with her image at the time. Like I guess trying out a bad girl image, but rated R was when she was saying, "Oh,
Like she
there
went
is
for
some
it.
darkness in my
Yeah.
life right now. I do want more somber music. I want it, I want to get
much
back to
darker,
me
yeah.
a little more, be like a little more out there with what
Which
I'm
is
doing.
why I can see why you'd say also Velvet Rope.
Yeah.
The darker.
I mean, it does play into both though.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
and I always took rated R as more of a strip moment for her, but also like her getting back, she kind of was bringing back the island feels then too, like and that was very her, and it went from Rude Boy to Russian Roulette to
Yeah, like Firebomb and
yeah.
all the classic songs.
Rockstar 101 was on that album
Yeah.
too, so there was a lot, I definitely see that moment for her. And her career since, she's always, and just like Christina was like, okay, I want to do rock, or I want to do, these intimate moments, or I want to do so and so. I'm going to get the right people that know how to kind of bring
Oh,
it. They
for
brought in
sure.
Redman, Alicia Keys, Lil Kim,
Dave
Linda
Navarro.
Perry, Dave Navarro.
Yeah, Linda Perry.
Exactly. She brought in those right, and she definitely did
Scott
that too with.
Storch.
Yeah, with him back to
Well,
basics.
he like,
Like
at the time.
hesitated.
Well, at the time he was like a huge hip hop producer.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And he had not worked with like a pop star really.
Yeah.
And then he
Sure.
did Can't Hold Us Down and a bunch of other songs. So it's like she
Yeah.
went to
No,
this
he
dude for more
definitely-
R&B music, and it worked because
Yeah.
hello.
And similarly, I do think Rihanna is very good at that. She went to Calvin Harris when she wanted to,
do
try out
dance.
EDM stuff. She went to
Work with Paul McCartney.
yeah, exactly. She's always been very in tune with what's happening or what can make her shine. So I definitely see
True.
that as well.
And different sounds and
yeah,
vibes.
for sure.
And then, of course, Demi Lovato and
Oh god. She is a stan.
Oh, for
She is.
sure.
She's
we
sang-
love her.
Just
She
the
sang-
way that, even the way she sings,
Yeah.
like that's
Yeah, you
total
can tell
Christina
she's totally
101.
influenced.
She did a cover of
named Pixar
either.
a
She
lot.
did a cover of Mercy on Me from Back to Basics
Oh, really?
album.
Long time ago.
No
Ooh, I
one
have to
knows
see
that
that.
song.
I love that
right?
song.
Or not
Yeah.
little, but when she was really young.
Yeah.
Like Disney Channel era.
Yeah.
Yeah, like she had
Oh, I
bangs
have to check
still.
that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and of course, her new album, Tell Me You Love Me, like she blatantly said,
Has
like
said a
I
few times.
use Stripped as like
Yeah.
my inspiration.
I mean, the black and white looks. I mean,
Yeah.
even, there's a song on it called Daddy Issues where, like, that is, like, the also personal way of saying, like, yes, like, my past is
Yeah.
affecting my present. And, like, very similar, it's a different take on it or whatever.
Yeah,
but
and it's more. I mean, compared to Demi's other albums, this one is definitely more R&B, more soulful.
yeah.
Kind of in the realm of how Stripped was, doing a little bit more like urban influences.
Yeah.
And then who else?
Yeah.
Queen Selena Gomez.
Selena,
Mark
I
just
think.
looked
She
at
name
me.
checks her a lot, but I don't.
I mean,
That's
she
the thing
said,
is that Selena,
Yeah.
I thought
Maybe just that
Revival.
album.
I think Selena's strip moment is still coming. I think this new
Yeah.
album might be
well,
that.
the thing is, she said it. Like
She did
I
say
don't
it.
think the only
She
reference
wanted
that I
Revival
get.
to be that kind of.
Yeah, but the only Stripped comparison I get is just the album cover.
Is the album cover and Revival intro kind of sounds like the stripped intro a bit, and I could
And
say
maybe Good For You.
I could say
Yeah.
maybe, or I could say her saying it's her revival. She's on a new
Yeah.
record label after her health scares.
Yeah.
She's reviving herself. She's being more personal in it. She put a little more of her Latin influences with like Me and My Girls and things like that. But ultimately, I still think Selena's strip moment
coming.
is coming.
Yeah, I think Selena, she's definitely improving as an artist.
Yeah.
Like with Fetish and
Doing a lot of interesting things with what she's been given.
Yeah. And
That's not to be shady, but
No, no,
it's
it's
no
true. It's
secret
not
she's
like-
not some like belting world class.
no, but I
but
think
she's figured out-
she knows
She's
that,
creating
so she's
interesting
like
sounds.
using that formula. Like, okay, I know I'm not the best vocalist, but let me
Yeah.
use
But
my voice in an
everybody
artful
isn't, so,
way.
yeah.
She's figured
Yeah.
it out, yeah. And I do think her more open moment is coming, I think.
Yeah, I mean, Miley's moment definitely happened with Bangers.
Yeah.
Miley's
That was her
definitely
strip
talked
moment.
about her a lot before.
Yeah, but Miley
Very
too.
American.
There was a lot of a lot of people focused on what was the single called again? We Can't Stop.
Uh-huh.
And but there was a
Which is
lot
supposed
in
to be
that
for
album.
Rihanna, fun fact.
Oh, I mean, there was a lot going. A lot of people focused on the wrecking ball and being naked and all these things, but there was a lot in that album. There were the really fun up tempo tracks,
Like
very
4x4.
sassy. Yeah,
And
but
then
then
she
there was
had-
also like songs about like songs called like Maybe You're Right or
And I
where
Adore
she's
You.
where she's questioning all her feelings about being loved and
Yeah.
heartbroken and if this person is the right or if she's being crazy for leaving them. There was a lot of depth to that album too that I think.
Yeah, I think people just got. It was like very surface level. I think
Yeah.
when I look back on Bangers, 2013 it came out.
Yeah.
Like it's still there's some tracks that still hold up to this day, and I
Yes,
feel
oh my
like people
gosh.
kind of similar to Strip when they overshadowed shadow the album because Dirty came out.
Yes.
They kind of did the same thing with
Yeah,
Bangers.
all the twerking and
Yeah.
Yes, no,
Okay.
exactly.
Yeah. I mean, like, she sounds amazing on that album.
No, she
Like,
really does. I
showed
mean,
off
it
her
starts
vocal
with
talent.
It's
yeah.
kind of interesting how like, I mean, I'm not a huge Miley fan in general.
I mean, neither am I, but I have
but
to
like
give her props.
how, never mind that free album she put out
Yeah,
with
forget
Oh, the
about it.
Dead.
Yeah.
Oh.
But like this is kind of her most recent album, the one that just came out.
It's
It's
her-
her album since Bangers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like her look has changed, her
Well, she-
vibe has changed,
yeah.
and people like came for her for it, and were like, "What were you doing before?" Like playing dress up, and kind of like, it's interesting because Christina faced that a little bit when Back to Basics came out, when people were like, "What happened to like the dirty like ex Dina, and now you're like dressing all pretty?"
Yeah,
and,
but
like,
the
now
thing
you're-"
is,
But
like,
it was,
I don't like
I
when
don't
people
know.
do that because
Although that was a much longer.
Madonna
time
did
period.
it. That's her whole
Yeah,
thing.
every album was a different look and a
Yeah,
different.
even with Janet, every album was a different look.
Yeah.
Michael even. So it's like
Yeah.
I
you
think well,
can't-
I
That's
think
just part of-
Christina
Yeah.
thought she was getting back. Like I remember she like she had to put the song "Still Dirty" on.
Yeah,
which-
exactly.
Oh,
but
yeah.
but you know, and I think with Miley, I think it was like way more blown out of proportion than I think it needed to be because at the same time I got
when
it.
she cleaned up her image.
Yeah,
or
or you know, in my opinion, she's still a weirdo. She's still got all those crazy tattoos and like still like looks kind of
Yeah.
crazy. And you know, she also was she had her breakout moment, and then just like when Christina went to Back to Basics, the music that she grew up with and stuff, Miley was going a bit more back to country, and you know the stuff that she grew up with, and again, if you pay attention to the stories. You get it. I mean, I do really like Miley Cyrus, and you know, Bangers really made that happen for me. I wasn't a big fan beforehand, but yeah, it's kind of like it just you know I don't know what the answer is. Do we have to tell everyone to pay attention to every pop star? But I would hope you know everyone would be a little more open minded on things
I
like that.
agree.
But Miley seemed to really kind of you know get
She's just very polarizing.
yeah. But I think yeah.
Yeah. So are there any other singers?
I
Even
also-
like male artists?
I think of
Sam Smith.
Oh gosh.
But he talks about her a lot. That's what I'm saying. Like he
Oh,
always
okay.
talks about stripped. Yeah.
Yeah.
I see Ariana as being
Oh, yeah.
once again, you know, not only someone whose voice ties it all together, but she really likes going for different genres.
You think
you
like
know.
a Dangerous Woman?
Yeah, I mean, Dangerous Woman. I mean, can you know, just think about even her singles. It was
Like Every Day with Future.
it was
Let Me Love You,
Every
Little
Day,
Woman.
Dangerous Woman,
Yeah.
and then before that, you know, going from
Be
Problem
Alright
to
was
Break Free
True. And
to
then she put out Into You.
yeah, like
Yeah.
she really ranges throughout, and I think that's her kind of really getting her different influences in, and I feel like that's
And
very
it
stripped
works.
of
Like
her.
every
She
song is
also
so
talks about
good.
loving Christina a lot.
She does. I mean,
And
they-
she
yeah.
like, as we've seen on her old YouTube channel,
Yes.
was a stan like
Yeah.
as a
Oh,
child.
really?
Yeah, she like covered her songs
Oh,
and
it's
like lip
adorable.
synced to them, and yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what
it's interesting because like we're talking about how culture has changed since stripped,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like all these artists who are now coming into their own, who were young when like stripped came out,
Uh-huh.
they're showing like how she helped push that culture. Like,
Oh, for sure.
Oh,
she's
yes.
influenced all these people, and now they're doing what they do.
Yeah, and then they
Yeah.
influence the generations.
No,
after
exactly,
them.
and I
Yeah.
think you know everyone sees that you know it's really obvious to see when you know you can see beyond you can see Destiny's Child impact or you can see Britney's impact. I think Christina's impact, other than unless you have like a big voice, you know, it's
Yeah.
much more subtle because I think there was a lot, you know, there was so much more to the story. Than
Yeah, I
people
think with
give credit
Christina,
to.
like when you talk about Britney's impact, when you talk about Rihanna's impact, I think it's more. Well, Britney's more with like the music wise, but I think with Christina, it's more about the message and the imagery, and kind of growing yourself as an artist, if that makes sense. Like the way that
Yeah, and
Yeah.
the pop girls,
transcending-
the way that the pop girls have influenced each other, I think it's in different ways.
For
'Cause,
sure.
like
Totally.
Britney hasn't. I mean, Demi has also been influenced by Britney Spears, but it
Yeah.
it's a totally different way. So.
Right, and you know, and at the time, you know, they
And
were
like-
still always being compared. Obviously, and,
Yeah.
you know, they didn't really help it. Each
Poor
one-
Jessica Simpson was in the shadows.
Poor Mandy Moore. Poor Samantha Mumba. But
Poor Stacey
Orico.
Orico.
Port
Okay,
will afford.
So, okay, they were not up there. It was like,
Poor Vanessa Carlton.
what in the world? Yeah, but I do think, and especially with this 15th anniversary, I think Christina's been being quite reflective. I think a lot of people have been thinking about it. Feels like it's
Yeah.
good. It's
No,
good
my
timing
entire
for the-
timeline over the past few weeks have
Wonder
been
what it's
all
gonna be like for the
Christina
20th
friendly.
anniversary.
Yeah, that's when I
Huge.
really tell you guys all my secrets.
She should go on a tour and just perform the whole album from
Oh
top
my
to bottom.
god, I would die
And like
for
smaller
that.
venues, that'd be great.
No, stop it, please.
No, I
My
didn't mean it
heart.
like that.
No.
No. Oh, no. I meant to
More
like
like
stop. I wouldn't be able to
intimate.
handle
I
it.
think we'll stop like I'm being
speak
shady.
it into
Amazing.
existence.
No, because
Let's
ever
do it.
since before Back to Basics, when she used to do that like small
Yeah.
jazz club tour, I still want her to do that.
Yeah,
shit.
I want Rihanna to do
Christina,
that so
are you
bad.
listening, girl?
Like just like a deep cuts
Yeah.
concert. Oh,
Like
Oh
be
my
a
gosh.
dream.
Stop.
strip down. You
yes.
call it the strip down tour of strip.
Ooh, I
Christina,
like that.
if you're listening to this,
Let us run your career, okay? We
No.
can help you manage and market.
We will have the best
We
time.
will, yeah, all your stands will love you even more.
for sure. But where would Stripped like be placed in your ranking of her albums? For me, it's number one.
I mean, it's easy to say number one because
Yeah.
of like it had the most impact, and I do love like most of it. And it had such an impact on me personally.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like as an adult music fan now, and
Mm-hmm.
what I tend to like now, like I go back and forth between Back to Basics and Strip because Back to Basics is more R&B.
Yeah.
Her vocals are more. I don't know what the word is. Like they're more refined. They're more like she's doing more like intricate things that like take precision, not just like going off.
No,
on
it
huge
it shows her
like
like
she's
her
doing that too,
artistry.
but like she also does like these really pretty runs and really pretty like, all different dynamics. And like to me, is someone who really likes singers and vocalists. Like now,
Yeah, no, it makes
I
sense.
appreciate that more than just like. But for its time, so yeah, I go back and forth. between
Yeah,
Stripped
I
and
think
Back to
Stripped is
Basics.
definitely my favorite just because the way that it's impacted me, not even just the music.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Back to Basics is a second because the songs are just freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, probably me too. It's probably is Stripped. I think just overall that album, the impact,
Yeah,
where I
I
was in
mean,
my
you can't
life at the
deny it.
time,
Yeah.
things like that. I do think. I mean, I love Bionic. I love Back to Basics.
Bionic has some
Bops.
bops. That's
And
another
and
underrated.
you lost me.
and it has you
I
lost.
really
Me.
You
love
lost
you
me
lost
the
me, and I
bop,
feel like
the
that's
ultimate
underrated.
bop.
But anyways, back to Strip. Sorry.
No,
No,
I mean, I think,
Bionic is third for me.
I think
yeah.
it has to be
Yeah.
Stripped.
Are we just forgetting the debut existed?
Yeah.
That's
I
number
actually really like a
4.
lot of songs on the debut album.
Somebody
Okay.
is
I mean,
a
it's basic, but
jam.
like honestly, her debut was very R&B for, especially considered
yeah.
like the time it came out, like for
Yeah.
pop music. Like, I
Don't
listened to
make me
her
love
vocals
you
and the production were
till
very.
I'm
Oh, for
ready.
sure. The thing is, I think it's interesting that she doesn't really put out a lot. I mean, we're still waiting for this next album to come out, but she doesn't really, keep up with the times in terms of putting albums out, constantly.
like every other year.
By the
every
time Strip came out, Britney Spears was already on her 3rd album.
Yeah.
year. Yeah, Christina's kind of falling behind as far as album
Yeah.
tallies, but
Yeah.
I feel like she doesn't give a shit about that.
Yeah. Do you
Oh,
think?
as she says, quality over quantity.
But do you think? I mean,
Lotus.
we're in an era where, I won't comment on that. But we're in an era where like artists drop albums all
Yeah.
the time.
Well, even
So-
Rihanna slowed down though. Like
Yeah.
Rihanna used to be one of those artists who every
That's
year you
true.
count on her dropping a song or an album
yeah.
every fall, winter.
Then Anti
whatever.
got to wait like 3 years.
Yeah, and then like it's been and I feel
But
like
like with Christina, oh yeah, go
I
ahead.
do. Well, I do think like you have to do that at first. When you're first coming out. Because it's gonna get ADD.
Christina was like, I don't.
But I do think she knows if she puts something out, it will be received. People will pay attention. Although I have to just believe that she's taken so much time with this album because it is quality.
Yeah, that it
over
has
quan-
to be. I
Well, 'cause
swear, if it's another Lotus.
Notice.
Lotus. I mean,
Notice
to be
Lotus.
honest, if any other artist put out most of Lotus, it'd be fine. It would be like, okay, it's like a fun pop
But
song.
the thing is, like, we know
But,
what she's
like,
capable of.
Yeah, that's the
you
thing.
know?
I feel like she set the bar high for herself.
Yes.
So like, we expect more than just like a album
Yeah.
you can make in.
And
like
I think,
no
I
more
think
Blake
she knows
Shelton.
it.
But
Let's-
like, Just a
I
Fool is a
don't
great song.
It's
Okay.
okay.
I agree, Bianca. No, I think she knows it. It
That would
has
have been
to
a
show.
hit if she put it out as a single. I think.
Sure.
Sorry.
I think she knows it needs to be show and prove, this time around. She can't really. I think she's been, playing around for a bit. Everyone from Pitbull to A Great Big World. I think she knows it has to happen now.
For real.
It has to be. It has to be
Maroon
right
5.
this time, and I think she'll. I think she'll show
I
it.
know.
Yeah,
I
I-
hope so. Christina, if you're listening,
We're
waiting.
waiting.
It seems like it's.
Waiting.
I think she knows people are waiting too.
It's been, what,
She has
5
to know.
years?
Every comment on
No,
every
4.
post she
4? Okay.
No, it's
I thought it was
2012. It's
5.
been 5.
Oh wait, it has been 5
Yep,
years.
this month
oh
it's been
my
5.
gosh, I thought
Holy cannoli.
This is her longest wait now
it,
between
it
albums.
has been.
So
I actually
long.
thought because
You guys- yeah.
back to
How do we
Basics, the strip
survive as
was-
stands?
I don't know how you guys do
Thank
it.
God for YouTube and old performances.
Like, do you think it's
Well,
going to come
because-
in, like, Q1, like, next year? Or
I'm still hoping.
I'm
it's
still
coming
hoping
this
it'll
year, but-
surprise drop like in a couple weeks.
she'll have, like, her Beyonce
I don't know.
moment?
That is not tea. I didn't spill any tea. I don't know
No,
anything.
we're just
hopeful.
Just speculating.
Yeah,
No,
we're
I do
definitely
think it'll be worth it. I think she knows she needs to really bring it this time. I think, and keep in mind that she did give us Burlesque and Bionic the same year, and then she gave us
The movie and the
Cheers.
soundtrack.
Does she drop telepathy?
I love
Yeah,
telepathy.
I do too.
I would
It's
love
a
an
cute
album full of
disco.
songs
But
like
the thing
that.
is that she really has been quiet. I mean, what was the last thing we even got changed? Maybe
Was
from
telepathy after change or before it?
I don't even
think
remember.
that was
but like
before.
she really hasn't. even
America
put it,
comes out today.
is the podcast coming out Friday? So
Oh,
yeah.
America's
Yeah.
out. Go
America's
buy it
out.
on iTunes.
But
It's off Linda Perry's weird compilation album.
yeah, but we do. She hasn't even had like a radio song, I should say,
Yeah.
in like a moment. So
Well,
at
that
least
could've been it.
say
But-
something was out.
Oh,
Big moment. for
Grammy
her.
winning, number one
Grammy
song.
winning. Was it number 1? But
I don't know. Should've been.
she had Feel This Moment. I feel like she had something else out there.
I mean,
Moves
I
like
think.
Jagger.
I mean, we're obviously excited about for her to perform at the AMA, so I think that would be a good moment
To
for
like
her to kind of
soft launch a new era.
yeah,
Like
to
how Gaga did all that stuff before.
exactly.
Joanne,
That's
like how she did like all the
interesting.
award shows
I
and
think
the
this
Super Bowl.
this could
and-
be her time to just kind of ease her way back into the
That's
spotlight.
interesting. But I think, and I do think the environment is ready for her. They're excited for her.
So I think her coming to the AMAs, I think that would be a great resurgence for her because she's kind of been away from the mainstream spotlight in a way. So I think this would be a good time for her to kind of remind people that hey, I'm still here. The album's coming eventually.
I've got this voice. I'm
Yeah.
going to use it.
Yeah, that's interesting. It almost kind of reminds me of Gaga's kind of recent press promo tour leading up to Joanne. Say what you will about the album, but she had a lot of great things going
The
for
lead-up
her.
was
The Oscars,
very well.
she had everything. Golden Globes, American Horror Story, all these really
Mhm.
great things.
The
So
anthem at the Super
maybe
Bowl.
sell them at the Super Bowl. Yeah, maybe there's more.
Yeah.
And I just feel like people are ready
Hmm.
for new Christina music beyond just the stands.
Well, the internet is definitely.
Oh, yeah, the internet's always goes crazy.
It's become now sort of a joke and a meme that she won't put out the damn album. And if you look at her social media, all the comments are, "Okay, we don't care about your family. Give us the album," which is kind of cray. But
Yeah.
I'm sure she knows.
But I love
so.
that she's always teasing people. Like obviously she's aware that we've been waiting 5 years for
Right.
this
She's
to come
being
out.
quiet on purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, she has to be. She has to
At this
be
point.
aware. I mean, she knows, but I think also she knows. I think the environment is more ready for her instead of just popping it out to just be there. I think they're ready for it, but also she knows it has to be quality. She knows what we've heard, what we've seen in terms of, once again, she's really seemingly coming back with those good collaborators. The people are going to bring the right stuff out. It seems like there's that she's at least singing she's not just pumping, it out. It seems like it's going to be
A big
done,
deal and
done
done well.
right. Yeah. And streaming's going to help her.
Yeah, I don't think she's gonna pull a Beyonce and just drop a surprise album out of nowhere. Like with her, obviously, like Mark said prior, she's all about quality. Not that Beyonce's about quality, but we know.
No, she's
But,
about the lead up and the
exactly.
tease.
She likes the lead up. She likes proper single releases. So I would hope she has a set
Visual.
plan in mind. So
Yeah.
I'm excited for it.
Yeah. I think the internet's ready. Like I said.
Yeah, we're ready.
Let's only hope, that it's actually.
I mean, at this point,
I
I,
mean,
feel like
it's-
everyone's just curious what she's been working on.
Yeah,
And
I mean, it's been 5
even
years, the longest in between
whatever she
albums.
puts out, people, even non-stands, will be curious just to stream it and see.
Oh yeah, no, she has the album. She has the audience. She'll always have the audience. I think I think it will be more well received than
Yeah,
Lotus.
I think people want to like her and her music, but they need with her. It's like everyone has such a high standard.
Exactly. So, Christina, if you're listening to this, we are waiting, but
With bated breath,
with bated breath.
whatever that means.
But yeah, so we'll bring it back to Stripped. This is the end of the segment. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you to Jeff and Mark for breaking down the entire album, even the interludes. We did it, and I hope you guys
did
liked it. This is for the fighters, so I hope you
13
guys
years later, we
enjoyed
did it.
this album. 15.
I meant 13
15.
as in this
Oh,
podcast
13.
has taken 13
Oh yeah.
years
Oh yeah.
because we talk so
this
much.
this podcast is probably like 2 hours
If you've listened
long.
to this whole thing,
but-
I'm buying you lunch.
Now, if you're a true stan, if you like listen to all of this, so I appreciate you guys for listening. But now we're gonna get into the song of the week. All right, guys. So now it is time for the song of the week, my favorite segment, and I always let my co-host go first. And I'm looking at Mark right now, so you have to go first.
I'm ready.
Show me what you got.
I'm keeping with the Christina theme,
Oh.
the Christina Stripped era theme.
Oh, snap.
And it's not a song on Strip, despite Strip being 800 songs long. She had some other songs she didn't include on it, believe it or not.
That is so much.
This is a B-side to the Dirty single, but it was only in the European single.
Oh.
So you had
I
to
know where this is
physically,
going.
you had to physically buy the single, which I went to Barnes and Nobles in high school and bought the single to get this song. It
I love
is
that you went to
called,
Barnes and Nobles. For
drum
this.
roll, I Will Be. Strong on my own, I will see through the rain.
Oh, come through
Okay.
vocals.
Do you know this one, Bianca?
I don't, and
Get
you-
familiar.
Okay, guys,
bitch.
if you were in this room right now, you could just. I wish you could see the shade that is being thrown at me. I'm a Christina fan, but I'm not a stan enough till I know all her B-sides. But
yes,
I'll get
it's
there.
A very soulful, stripped down song. It's just her and a piano and her belting her heart out.
Definitely in the cruise soar world that we
Yeah,
were
it's
talking
that
about.
kind of a message of like,
Voice within.
I'm gonna be stronger. I'm gonna be who I am, and
Okay.
I'm gonna be an amazing human.
Well, if it's
and
similar to
singer, which
Cruise
she
and Soar,
is.
that means I'll definitely like it.
Yeah,
So
it's
I'll listen
very
to this
soulful.
after
It
the
reminds
podcast.
me of like I don't know why I always get like an Aretha Franklin vibe from the vocals.
The big belts for sure. Very like just like the fact it's just all the chorus. I mean, it is just a piano, her voice,
Very
and like
classic
just the
sounding.
big belts are just like. It's just like so
She takes it
vocal,
there.
It's just like, and clearly she did it, as like a vocal exercise almost, or like, maybe when she finished the album, she realized, okay, maybe I don't need,
Yeah.
like this sort of like gymnastic song,
It's
it's
so
pretty clear I
good.
can sing.
On its own, it's so good.
It really is, and I love that. And this was again just how she was messing with us so much during this album, which I feel like has been a theme of this conversation. That "Dirty" was the A side, to the single,
Yeah.
and then hip hop raunchy joint, whatever,
Yeah.
empowering, confident joint, and then this B side was this, very tender ballad. And
Yeah,
Queen, always showing different sides to
always
her.
showing out.
All right, so Jeff, it's your turn.
Yours,
What's your
Jeff.
song of the week?
So mine's going to also kind of have at least a similar stripped vibe in the sense of this is another album that really influenced me as like a music fan at the time too, and also had the same like. I think was overshadowed by its single. So the song is it's Tweet, if you remember Tweet.
Okay.
Oops, oh my.
And so this is my point actually.
Off tune. That was
Wait,
out of
is
key.
that the song?
No. So it's so I'm gonna choose. But the song. So the song is well. She also had a song called "Beautiful" on her
Okay.
album,
Oh.
and
okay.
but I think like Tweet. That album was like it had a lot of different genres, lots of different sounds. She was talking about her sexuality, talking about her addictions, talking about how she was considering suicide, all these things.
Oops, oh my, her dirty. Oh my god. Oh my god,
Whoa.
epiphany.
Wow, Mark. blowing my mind right here.
Seriously.
But no, I think that album it just had a lot more going. And that song I really love the album. The album's called Southern Hummingbird. That was her first album, and yeah, I mean, beautiful. I'm choosing it just to keep with the Christina theme, but there were so many cool different kinds of songs on that album. So just like Stripped, kind of got overshadowed by either or
And
like
Oops.
that she was Missy's artist or that she was only working with Timbaland. But there was so much more to that album, and such a good neo soul album, an album that keeps her fans today.
Yeah, I would say that I'm not even a huge fan of Tweet. I mean, I'm a fan of her casually, and I like her music, and she's great, and she's really talented. But I feel like people still talk about that album today as like why they got hooked on her, like her fan base who are still with her today, still always like there when she puts on her music.
Her
when
fan
she
base
tours.
is very, very diehard and supportive.
Well, yeah, and that's it. And she's
Yeah.
put out even less albums than Christina.
If you can believe that.
so I don't. So that's if you like, especially if you like, Loving Me for Me, or if you're looking for an album that kind of will blow your mind and have a lot of unexpected themes and feelings to it, and emotions and topics. Southern Hummingbird by Tweets, and I love Beautiful.
Nice.
And you're only about 15 years late if you just get to Tweet now.
Oh yeah, seriously.
Because it was same year.
But better late than never.
That's true. Very true. All right, so it is my turn.
Ooh.
All right, I'm obviously going to stick with the Christina theme, but it is a song that was meant for Christina, but
I know where this is going as well.
she didn't get it.
Did she happen to co-write it?
I think she did. I want to say yes. Am I?
Oh yeah, if it's
If it's what we think it is.
Okay, well,
What is
it's
it?
Kelly Clarkson's Miss Independent.
yeah.
Wait, did she really co-write it?
Yeah, she wrote that for Stripped. Yeah.
I didn't know. I thought it was just like written for her. I didn't know she.
No, she co-written it.
I love when pop girls actually write their own music. No shade. But yeah, Miss Independent is my song.
They
of the
all
week.
do if you ask them.
Looking at you, a certain beehive. But okay.
Whoa.
I'll just
Say that.
say.
Jeff and I are safe.
We are.
Bianca said that, the Rihanna fan. Get her.
Wow. Don't bring Rihanna into this, sir. but yeah, I love Miss Independent because I think we kind of all were introduced to Kelly Clarkson, obviously American Idol, but she was like always very balladry and a bit cheesy at times because, of course they had to cater to that mainstream audience. But I feel like with Miss Independent, she was able to break out of that and become, a little more rugged and, try a little bit more of an urban sound. So I think it was a good transition for her to kind of show a different side musically.
The bop.
Yeah. So I like that, she kind of broke away reference.
I love that song too.
Yeah, same. But
She
like
doesn't.
even- Oh,
Kelly
really?
Clarkson doesn't?
She's been talking about how all the stuff she did with Dr. Luke, she didn't actually want to.
Wait, was Dr. Luke?
No, I think it was Dr. Luke. Yeah.
That song or?
I
Was
think
it?
so.
Spread my wings and out.
Yeah.
Just
Guys,
saying I
yeah,
never
let
liked
us know if we're being incorrect. But
I think I'm correct.
Okay. But
But Miss Independent also
yeah.
fits in the. Mike's off there singing. He's I know that also you could tell it would definitely fit into the theme. It's definitely not the most
The
mature
theme
song
of
on the record.
Stripped.
Or sorry, it wouldn't have been the most mature. I think there's.
But if it's kind of like that whole "Can't Hold Us Down"
Yeah.
type
And you
of
can totally
uppity
picture
vibe.
Christina singing that.
Yeah, especially the chorus.
Yep.
Wow, that's quite loud. Sorry for your ears.
So yeah, I
Yeah.
see it, but I think I get why it didn't make Strip, but I would one day love to hear her just like at least about that.
Maybe there's
I
like
wonder
a
if she even
demo
recorded it.
somewhere.
I doubt she even recorded if she gave it away. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe she
Never
did.
know. But
It's in her
yeah,
vault with Kimono Girl.
Kimono Girl.
Wow, a true stand moment.
Under her spell.
Wow. I love all these.
F-U-S-U.
I love all these stand moments. It's so cute.
We've had a lot of them. This
Yeah.
podcast. This
Christina put out an unreleased songs album thing.
Ooh, a lot of my faves need to do that.
we
Yeah.
this was an episode truly for the fighters.
Oh yeah, truly for the fighters. Thank you guys for sharing all your stories with
Xtina.
us on Twitter. And we keep hashtagging Besterday. Like share with me even more of your memories. I love reading them. I love like personal connections to music. So yeah, that is a wrap for this week's episode of Besterday. I'm getting tongue tied. I'm so thirsty. But yeah, okay, this episode is a wrap. Definitely look out.
Oh, hey, oh.
Hey.
This
But
is
yeah.
from our underdogs.
I'm underdogs. I'm with you.
I thought
feel
said,
you.
I feel you, Queen. But yeah, guys, follow myself, Bianca Rogue, on Twitter. Follow Jeff __ Benjamin,
Yep.
and Mark at 106th. And that is a wrap. I'll see you guys soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye. We're done.
Biggie knows.